Chapter 17:05. The war began, the Six Paths Transformation. At the same time that Chu Hen and Mu Fei Side were slaughtering their way into the Beast Dao realm, the other four realms were also in full swing. The Divine Star clan, led by the Great Star Emperor, entered the Ghost realm like a sharp sword. What welcomed them was the main force of the Samsara Sacred Clan. The dazzling star Sacred Light clashed violently with the bloodline boundary of the Samsara Sacred Body. Heaven and earth caved in. Mountains and rivers shattered. It was like the end of the world. The Ghost Dao realm, which had always been dark and gloomy, was as bright as day under the interweaving starlight. The Desolation Emperor of the Sacred Clan of the Great Wilderness was also controlling the chaos in the Azura Dao realm. The main force of the Sacred Clan of the Great Wilderness was fighting the main force of the Sacred Clan of the Great Wilderness. Although they were both sacred clans with the word wilderness, the attribute of their power was completely different. One was known as the strongest, instantaneous, explosive power of the Sacred Clan of the Ten Directions. The other was the most overbearing, corrosive, and weakening power. The clash between the two was like a spear and a shield. In the Azura Dao realm, yellow dust filled the air. Everything in the world was corroded by the power of the Great Wilderness, lifeless. The battle between the two sides was like an ancient, dry, cracked riverbed. In the human Dao realm, flames and smoke. The Abyss Emperor led the Sacred Clan of the Nine Nether Sacred Clan to fight against the main force of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. In the sky, the blue sky turned into dragons. Ferocious creatures covered in dragon scales, like ancient beasts, were engaged in a chaotic battle with the warriors of Holy Abyss Tribe. In the Hell Dao realm, the Divine Eye Sacred Clan, led by the Burning Sky Emperor and by Qin Yu, faced the obstruction of the Light Sacred Clan and the Darkness Sacred Clan. The terrain of the Hell Dao realm was very special. It was divided into many small areas. Areas with raging flames. Areas with inky water. There was an area filled with giant thorns. There was also a region filled with yellow dust. The Divine Eye Sacred Clan's army directly rode the behemoth-like flowing cloud ship into this multi-layered hell. Sacred Light Shield. Buzz. A series of dazzling lights pierced through the sky, and countless neatly arranged light shields formed a huge canopy. Then, the crisscrossing light beams that filled the sky transformed into billions of sword shadows and spear lights that swept over. The powerful Aurora Divine Light immediately caused a huge obstruction to the Holy-Eyed Sacred Race's army. At that moment, the sky-scorching martial monarch's eyes turned cold as he let out a cold harumph and flew out of the cabin. "All of you, back off." As soon as he finished speaking, the Burning Heaven Emperor clasped his palms together, rapidly condensing a blazing ball of fire in his palms. Then, he pushed his palms forward. Buzz! With a rapid tremor of air waves, the fireball immediately burst out and rapidly swept towards the center of the neatly arranged light shields in front of it against the golden brilliance that fell like rain. There was no pause at all. As it moved, the size of the fireball continued to expand. By the time it reached the center of the light shields, it had already expanded to 1,000 feet in diameter. Then, with a heavy and deafening explosion, the fireball that had smashed into the center of the countless light shields suddenly exploded. In an instant, the sky above the Hell Dao world was instantly set ablaze. For example, the flaming star explosion. The vast and terrifying crimson halo swept across the sky in all directions. Many experts from the Light Sacred Race were instantly thrown out. The Sacred Light Shield canopy, which had been impregnable a second ago, was immediately blasted into a huge hole. Get ready to bear the wrath of the Emperor. The Burning Heaven Emperor's eyes surged with fighting spirit. In the other realms, several great emperors were commanding and controlling the situation. Only the Burning Heaven Emperor took the lead and charged into the enemy's formation. At the same time, the other experts from the Burning Heaven Sacred Race also followed the Burning Heaven Emperor into the depths of the enemy's territory. The Burning Heaven Emperor is a little anxious. He hasn't even seen the enemy's situation clearly. An elder from the holy-eyed sacred race said to Bai Qinyu. Bai Qinyu frowned slightly and nodded slightly. She could understand the burning heaven emperor's impulsiveness. After all, the reincarnation sacred race had almost destroyed the entire burning heaven sacred race. To the burning heaven emperor, this enmity was absolutely irreconcilable. What he wanted to do was to directly charge through the Tao world of hell and reach the heaven Tao world to fight the reincarnation sacred race and the others to the death. Let's act according to the situation. Bai Qinyu was not particularly worried. After all, it was 5 armies besieging the heaven Tao world. The forces of the reincarnation sacred race, primitive world sacred race, dragon blood sacred race, and the other races were all scattered. Even if the situation in the Tao world of hell was not clear, the other party would not have too many backup plans. Understood. The elder nodded in agreement. Then, he waved his hand and gave an order. Kill! Kill! As soon as he finished speaking, the army of the holy-eyed sacred race surged like a school of fish out of a giant boat and set off a monstrous battle intent toward the enemy in front of them. Charge! Attack the heaven Tao world! The golden spears and armor horses met on the battlefield. Cold spears danced in the sky. Jade swords washed the world. Hell Tao world. Hell battle. Bai Qinyu was peerless and arrogant. Wait a minute, she suddenly said to a slender and beautiful figure beside her who was about to join the battle. The latter was stunned for a moment. His red glass-like eyes stared at the man with a slightly puzzled look. Mo Qingli. She was supposed to go to the Beast Tao world with Chu Hen. However, when she was in the White Arch City, she was asked by Bai Qinyu to come to the Hell Tao world. Bai Qinyu glanced sideways at Mo Qingli. Stay by my side. Mo Qingli's eyes flashed with surprise, but she did not ask anything and nodded slightly. At that moment, even Mo Qingli, who was the daughter of the sacred winged sky flame sparrow emperor, could not help but feel that Bai Qinyu's aura was too strong. Compared to the burning heaven emperor, Bai Qinyu was more like the leader of this attack on the Tao world of hell. Beast Tao world. Boom! Bang! Chaotic battle in the sky. White light flashed. Cold winds roared and wind blades danced in the sky. The battle between the two sides was constantly stretched out. The Rock Sacred Clan, the Imperial Beast Sacred Clan, the Storm Sacred Clan. Even though they were not powerful forces on Chu Hen's side, only the Arcanum Palace could be considered a complete system. The Demonized Sacred Clan was in a critical state. The Primal Chaos Clan was even worse off. As for the Martial Alliance, Mount Kunliu, and other forces, they only had an advantage in numbers. The fierce battle between the two sides did not appear to be one-sided in a short period of time. Of course, this was under the condition that Chu Hen had not yet joined the battle. Extreme Wine Meteor Fury. The Storm Sacred Clan's leader, Lu Yu, stepped on a cold whirlwind, blue wings of wind behind him. Wherever he went, blood and flesh flew. Chu Hen's eyes turned cold. He turned to Mu Fei and said, Palace Lord Mu Fei, I'll leave the command to you. Mu Fei's expression was solemn. With that, Mu Fei shouted, Raise the turrets. Yes. The members of the occult Heavenly Palace on the giant ships responded in unison. As thousands of dazzling runes flashed on the deck of the giant ships, the center of the deck opened up. Then a dozen or so majestic towers slowly rose from the top of each flowing cloud ship. Every tower was more than 100 meters tall. At the top of each tower was a dazzling energy crystal ball. Countless runes and runes surrounded the towers, shining. Many occult heavenly palaces, saint inscription masters injected runes into the turrets. Buzz, the space trembled, accumulating energy. Every crystal ball at the top of the tower released a powerful energy source. Attack! Mu Fei commanded. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying beam of light shot out from the top of each turret at the same time. The light beam was crimson, dark like a lava stream. Bang! Bang! As soon as the beams of death shot out, one after another, the Imperial Beast Sacred Clan Sky Hunters were smashed to pieces in the blink of an eye, along with their beasts. They melted instantly. It was truly melted and disappeared in an instant. What a terrifying power. Everyone revealed a look of shock. Even Chu Hen was shocked. The occult heavenly palace. The occult heavenly palace lived up to its name. Shocked, Chu Hen drew a purple flash of lightning in the air and dashed toward Lu Yu, the Stormwind St. Clan's clan leader. Feeling the powerful pressure coming from Chu Hen's body, Lu Yu's expression clearly changed for a moment. In a hurry, Lu Yu closed his palm and pulled it out. A sharp spiral wind blade was instantly formed. Meteor slash, Lu Yu shouted inwardly. He raised his hand and threw the spiral wind blade in his palm towards Chu Hen. Whoosh! The hurricane roared and the cyclone stirred. The spiral wind blades expanded rapidly, and one ring after another, the green shadows of the wind blades were like the outer ring of a typhoon. The dazzling aurora was like a white hole. As the terrifying, destructive power enveloped the area, the space in all directions was torn apart, leaving long and narrow cracks in it. It was a sure kill attack from an Emperor Realm expert. It was earth-shattering. However, that beam of purple lightning did not even change its trajectory in the slightest. Clang! The moment the green wind blade and the purple lightning met, the huge hurricane's cutting power collided with the lightning. Space rapidly distorted and caved in. Strong winds roared to the nine heavens. Under countless shocked gazes, the extremely destructive and violent spiral wind blade directly exploded from the center. The world shook. Innumerable wind blades danced in the sky, splashing everywhere. Everyone in the surroundings was sent flying. Lu Yu frowned, his eyes cold. Humph! Even Martial Monarch would have to avoid this attack of mine. Lu Yu's pupils shrank before he could finish his sentence. Amidst the vortex of millions upon millions of intertwining wind blades, a young figure shrouded in purple light stood proudly beneath the sky like a god of war who had descended to the mortal world. Chapter 1706. Sir, you're on the wrong side. Amidst the whirlpool of wind blades, Chu Hen appeared in front of Lu Yu, the leader of the Storm Saint tribe, wearing a purple armor that tore apart the storm. Lu Yu's face changed. It's not too late to regret, Chu Hen said coldly. Humph, cut the crap. Lu Yu extended a single palm. The instant his 5 fingers reached towards Chu Hen through the air, a cyan wind swirled around his arm and converged at the center of his palm, immediately transforming into a peerlessly sharp spear. The spear pierced through the air with extreme speed. Chi patterns flowed around the body of the spear, exuding the aura of death. However, Chu Hen did not panic in the slightest in the face of a Peak Emperor's attack. Bang! A heavy and violent muffled sound exploded in the air. The spear condensed from the cyan whirlwind shockingly broke into pieces less than half a meter in front of Chu Hen. Ice shards of different sizes danced in the air. Lu Yu's eyes widened in astonishment. Chu Hen's body was surrounded by a whirlpool-like purple ring of light. His pair of pupils that were as deep as an ancient well quietly surged with a demonic purple light. I'm sorry, but you won't be able to stop us because of Mu Fei. Chu Hen softly spat out the word sorry. Lu Yu's pupils constricted slightly. Before he could react, a deafening bang resounded through the sky. The powerful shockwave was like a halo set off by the explosion of a star. Chaotic energy surged into the sky, and Lu Yu seemed to be struck by a tremendous force as he rapidly plummeted downwards. In the process of falling, Lu Yu tried to stabilize his body, but Chu Hen didn't give him the chance. Whoosh! After images flashed in the air. Like a flicker of light, Chu Hen instantly appeared in front of Lu Yu. Lu Yu's expression changed. At this time, 2 hurried sounds of piercing wind came explosively from both sides of Chu Hen. Lu Yu, we're here to help you. Chu Hen, don't be too arrogant. One of them was surrounded by a brown halo. A powerful gravity field shrouded the space around Chu Hen. The strong gravity field made the air sink. At the same time, the other person was riding on a falcon that was shining brightly all over. The falcon was as fast as lightning. Every feather was golden, and its eyes were sharp like the king of thousands of flying beasts. The man on top of the falcon wore a suit of brilliant silver armor and held a trident in his hand. His aura was also extremely powerful. Feeling the two extraordinary and powerful auras behind him, Chu Hen's eyes shivered and a strange light flickered in his purple pupils. Clank! Suddenly, Chu Hen's eyes burst out a beautiful purple light. Then, heaven and earth lost their color. Countless peerless purple lightning pillars, like the blood vessels flowing in the human body, extended in all directions. Accompanied by violent thunder that was like a heavenly net, the sky above the Beast Owl world was suddenly filled with lightning, and the space trembled. Bang! In the next moment, a violent demonic flame storm exploded in the air. Along with countless spatial rifts, the three figures close to Chu Hen were directly sent flying. Lu Yu, the Storm Saint Clan's clan leader, felt his body shake. A lightning pillar exuding a heaven-punishing aura struck down. It was as if he was being punished by the heavens. The purple lightning pillar that tore through the void blasted Lu Yu into the Great Wall mountain range below. The dragon-like mountain range was immediately split in half. The terrifying, destructive power spread out, and the majestic mountain range collapsed one after another from the aftershocks of the blooming thunder patterns. Clan leader. Everyone from the Storm Saint clan was shocked. The eyes of the other two people who were pushed back by Chu Hen were also filled with shock. Before the middle-aged man riding the golden feathered eagle could stabilize his body, Chu Hen turned his body to the side and raised his 5 fingers in the air. Crack! In an instant, a beam of purple light shot out from Chu Hen's palm. Hiss! A string of dazzling blood splattered. The golden feathered falcon that looked like an emperor of birds didn't even have time to scream. The beam of purple light from Chu Hen's palm instantly penetrated its head. Red and white liquid burst out. Chu Hen pressed down with his arm. The beam of purple lightning was like a sharp light blade, quickly cutting the body of the golden feathered falcon. The expression of the middle-aged man changed dramatically. He hurriedly leaped out. Swish! The beam of purple light brushed past his feet. Almost at the same moment he retreated, the aggressive golden-feathered falcon was directly split in half. So close. Just a little bit more. The middle-aged man from the Beast Saint clan felt a chill down his spine. He was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. Chu Hen stood in the air, looking at the people around him. I'm afraid you guys can't stop us. In an instant, he defeated the encirclement of the Storm Saint clan, the Beast Saint clan, and the Rock Saint clan. It was as if Chu Hen was announcing to the people the title of Emperor Chu. At the same time, under the command of Mu Fei, the cannon on the flowing cloud, giant ship shot out beam after beam of death light. The incomparably powerful death light beams crisscrossed the sky. One by one, the ferocious and terrifying giant beasts were pierced into pieces. One by one, the enemies were directly melted. Unstoppable, truly unstoppable. Mu Fei led the army of conquerors and quickly gained the upper hand. The huge flowing cloud golden ship rushed into the depths of the Beast Dao realm with the momentum of breaking the ice. Suddenly, at this moment, the sky above the leading flowing cloud giant ship was shrouded by a chaotic storm of dark clouds. Ha! Palace Master Mu Fei. Didn't I tell you not to meddle? A low and sinister sneer entered Mu Fei's ears without any warning. The people on the leading ship were shocked. Oh no! Yin Fushu of the Chaos clan immediately exclaimed, Palace Master Mu Fei, be careful, clang. Before he finished speaking, a ninth heaven-rolling thunder tore through the sky, followed closely by an incomparably huge golden dragon claw. Rumble, a deafening sound. The golden dragon claw seemed to have reached out from another plane of existence, and it landed solidly on Mu Fei's body on the flowing cloud giant ship. Under countless shocked gazes, the flowing cloud giant ship, which was more than 10,000 meters long, was forcibly split in the middle. Bang! The destructive storm of rubble swept through the sky. The violent impact instantly caused the beast-like flowing cloud golden ship to explode. Along with the many cannon turrets, The many experts and conquerors of the heavenly mystery palace on the giant ship were instantly smashed by this claw. What a terrifying aura! Yin Yuan, Long Qingyang, Yi Yao, Dongfang Hengji, and the others were all shocked. Looking at the flowing cloud giant ship that had been instantly destroyed, Yin Fushu clenched his fists and shouted coldly, "Dragon Blood Emperor! Dragon Blood Emperor!" The main force of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was currently engaged in an intense battle with the conquerors of the Abyss Sacred Clan in the Nightmare Realm. Who would have thought that the Dragon Blood Emperor would actually appear here? The violent energy came out of nowhere, and Mu Fei, the master of the Heavenly Mystery Palace, spat out a mouthful of blood. He immediately mobilized the power of the runes to retreat. However, before Mu Fei could defend himself, the dragon claw that had destroyed the giant ship suddenly exploded with greater speed and power. Rumble, endless wind and lightning flowed down, and the area where Mu Fei was quickly darkened. Boom! Then, the huge world-destroying dragon claw fell like a falling mountain, directly crushing Mu Fei into the ground. The mountains exploded, and the rivers flowed in reverse. The mountains and cliffs were instantly flattened, and wherever the dragon claw landed, the ground cracked into a canyon. In the blink of an eye, it was no longer what it was. Ugh! Amidst the flying dust and rubble, Mu Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, and his aura immediately weakened. Palace Master. The people of the Heavenly Mystery Palace panicked. At the same time, the storm roared, and the dragon roared to the 9 heavens. A wave of 9 dragons' energy that made one's soul tremble suddenly appeared in the sky above the Beastao world. Surrounded by countless dragon shadows, a domineering figure of an emperor stood proudly on the chaotic battlefield. Mu Fei frowned, and his bloodshot eyes were filled with seriousness. "Oomph." The Dragon Blood Emperor looked down with an extremely mocking attitude. Those who don't know how to cherish opportunities don't deserve to live in this world. After saying that, the Dragon Blood Emperor stretched out his palm. Buzz, the trembling space suddenly caved in and sank, and a huge palm pressed downwards. The lines of the palm were clearly visible. It seemed slow, but in fact it was extremely fast. This was because as it moved, the palm continued to expand. Mu Fei seemed to have fallen into a dead end, with nowhere to hide. "Not good," Yin Fushu exclaimed. Everything happened too fast, and even he couldn't react in time, especially when the opponent was one of the 10 great emperors, the Dragon Blood Emperor. Looking at the expanding golden palm, Mu Fei's pupils constantly trembled. The surrounding mountains and rivers continued to sink, and even the nearby space was squeezed until it was deformed and cracked. Boom! A vast, earth-shattering, star-like energy spread in all directions. Under the horrified gazes of many people, huge cracks started to appear one after another. Circles of golden halos swept across heaven and earth like scattered nebula tsunamis. The moment the giant mountain was flattened, the rivers in the distance all burst their banks, and a large amount of water poured into this sunken canyon. The Dragon Blood Emperor's eyes were filled with a sinister cold light. "Ha! What an irritating little brat." In the aftermath of the rampaging, chaotic whirlpool of light, under the rubble of the explosion, in the air above the pale-faced Mu Fei, a young figure stood proudly. 9 black dots slowly appeared in the depths of his purple eyes. The intense energy fluctuation caused the surrounding earth to split open into countless cracks. "You're alone this time?" Chu Hen glanced sideways at the other party. The Dragon Blood Emperor's lips curled into a cold smile. "How about it? Then I might kill you, Divine King Wuji, Divine King Wuji." Chapter 1707. Dragon Blood Emperor. His sudden appearance in the Beastao world caused the already chaotic scene to become even more turbulent. As the main commander, Mu Fei, the palace master of the mysterious Heavenly Palace, was severely injured. The Dragon Blood Emperor explained what it meant to threaten and kept his word. Rumble. Crash. The surrounding earth caved in, and the mountains and river embankments collapsed. As the terrain sank, the surrounding water torrents suddenly surged in from all directions. The mighty water torrents quickly submerged the valley beneath Mu Fei and Chu Hen. Under the surging and whistling water, Chu Hen and the Dragon Blood Emperor stood facing each other in the air. Both of them were emitting powerful auras rhythmically. "You're alone this time?" Chu Hen said coldly. "How about it? Then I might kill you." Chu Hen's eyes turned cold, and a star-like brilliance suddenly burst out from the depths of his evil purple eyes. Rumble. In an instant, incomparably magnificent pillars of purple light shot out from the rock wall below. The world instantly lost its color. The water torrents below rose up, and the water splashed like tsunamis. Everyone present was shocked. Provocation, an especially sharp provocation. Even when facing one of the 10 great emperors, the Dragonblood Emperor, Chu Hen's aura was not suppressed. Instead, it was like a strong flame, and his battle intent was high. In particular, the words, "I might kill you," made the hearts of everyone in the Beast Dao world tremble. The Dragonblood Emperor looked down at Chu Hen, and his pair of metallic eyes revealed a strong sense of coldness and disdain. "Apart from being ignorant, you really have nothing. Your faces should be filled with infinite fear." With that, the Dragonblood Emperor's hands extended outwards, and along with the sky-shattering aura of the 9 Dragons Emperor, his pair of metallic eyes emitted a cold light like that of a dragon god. The sky changed color, and the earth trembled. Rumbling wind and thunder gathered in the sky above the Beast Dao world. 9 Dragons' domain. The deafening sound was like a clap of thunder in the void. In a split second, waves of violent energy undulated from the ground that was submerged by the flood river. Rumble, then huge waves rose to the sky and raged. 9 magnificent stone pillars rose into the sky from the turbulent waters. Every stone pillar was like a pillar that pierced through the clouds. At the top of each stone pillar, there was a lifelike stone statue of a giant dragon. The dragon statues were of different shapes. Some were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Some were grinning and roaring, and some were coiled around their heads as if they wanted to tear the sky apart. 9 huge pillars stood in 9 different directions in the area where Chu Hen was. From afar, it looked like an ancient ferocious spirit that had sealed this space. A ferocious aura shot up into the heavenly river. In the Beast Dao world, the sky was dark. As the storm gathered, the evil aura gradually spread. Buzz. The area sealed off by the 9 dragon statues was instantly shrouded in an incomparably powerful aura. Many of the chaotic combatants inside felt their internal organs being subjected to extreme pressure and gravity. "Chu Hen, I'll help you." Yin Fushu of the Chaos Clan hurriedly flashed to Chu Hen's side, but the next moment, the invisible pressure from all directions caused his face to pale slightly. He felt as if someone was strangling his throat. It was extremely uncomfortable. What a powerful domain space, Yin Fushu frowned. Then, the power of the chaos bloodline in his body leaked out like black, demonic flames surging around his body. However, Chu Hen said, "Uncle Yin, take Palace Master Mu Fei out." Yin Fushu was stunned. He turned to look at Mu Fei, who was embedded in the rubble of the mountain wall. Her face was pale and bloodless, and her aura was especially weak. It was obvious that she had suffered serious injuries. "But leave him to me," Chu Hen said calmly. Looking at the 9 black dots slowly rotating in Chu Hen's demonic eyes, Yin Fushu's mind was in a trance for a moment. He composed himself and then nodded. "All right, you must be careful." With that, Yin Fushu moved and put the heavily injured Mu Fei on his shoulder. Then, he turned into a blur and quickly rushed out of the 9 dragon domain. At the same time, the others in the domain also retreated as if they felt invisible fear. In the blink of an eye, only Chu Hen and the Dragonblood Emperor were left in the vast 9 dragon domain space. The flood flooded the canyon below on a large scale. The 9 huge stone statues were like the dividing line of the battlefield. Zizi's the berserk purple lightning mixed with a bewitching demonic flame rose up. Behind Chu Hen, it gathered into a group of dreamlike, malevolent bee silhouettes. Sensing Chu Hen's powerful battle intent, a domineering golden dragon shadow appeared in the sky behind the Dragonblood Emperor. Roar! One was the rising star of the younger generation, Emperor Chu. The other was the most powerful person in the Dragonblood Sacred Clan, the Dragonblood Emperor. It was like the clash of a century. An invisible, sharp, killing intent began to spread out. Ha ha! The Dragonblood Emperor sneered coldly. You dare to challenge this Emperor's dignity? Just how confident are you in yourself? A ridiculing smile rose from the corner of Chu Hen's mouth. If it were anyone else, I would feel some pressure, but the person who came is you impudent. The Dragonblood Emperor was furious. As soon as he finished speaking, the monstrous aura of the 9 dragons roared down like a passing typhoon. Xiao! The Dragonblood Emperor suddenly disappeared from where he stood with a hurried wind force. Even your father, Chu Rantian, wouldn't dare to act rashly in front of me, let alone you. The ice-cold aura immediately pressed down. Chu Hen's pupils constricted, only to see the Dragonblood Emperor appear in front of him in a flash. Then, the Dragonblood Emperor swept his leg towards Chu Hen's head. The wind was piercingly cold, and the fierce wind from the leg was like a sharp blade. In a hurry, Chu Hen immediately crossed his arms in front of him. Bang! The Dragonblood Emperor's heavy leg landed squarely on Chu Hen's arms, and a ring of golden and purple light appeared in the sky. Along with an extremely loud explosion, an endless amount of power poured onto Chu Hen's body. Chu Hen immediately fell from the void. The rapidly falling Chu Hen was getting closer and closer to the surface of the water. The strong aura caused the water below to cave in. But before Chu Hen could completely stabilize his body, a shocking boom exploded in all directions, and the water below was directly split apart by a huge dark golden arc of light. The extremely sharp dark golden arc of light was like a huge ring-shaped blade. The current was split apart in the middle. The golden arc of light split the current and slashed towards Chu Hen. Die! The Dragonblood Emperor's slightly angry voice rang in Chu Hen's ears. Chu Hen's pupils constricted continuously. At the same time as the Dragonblood Emperor finished speaking, Chu Hen raised his right hand unhurriedly. Crack! As he stretched out his right arm, streaks of sharp purple lightning rapidly ran up and down his arm. Chu Hen's 5 fingers closed together, and in the form of a frontal thrust, he faced the golden arc of light that was coming straight at him. Screech! Dazzling purple light converged on both sides of Chu Hen's body, like flowing shadow wings of divine light. Then, Chu Hen's closed 5 fingers hit the middle section of the ring-shaped arc of light, and the power gathered at the tip of his fingers was like an extreme point. Bang! The 2 colors of aurora collided, and the huge ring-shaped arc of light that was splitting the current was directly split in 2. Chu Hen forcibly passed through it. His fingers, which were flowing with purple lightning, did not even bend. Everyone outside the 9 Dragons domain was shocked. The Dragonblood Emperor's double attack was actually unable to suppress Chu Hen's first move. Great Dao domain. The rapid rhythm was instantly pulled apart. As Chu Hen passed through the opponent's fierce attack, his own domain power rapidly spread. In the domain sealed by the 9 dragon statues, a circle of light purple light extended towards the Dragonblood Emperor. However, the Dragonblood Emperor laughed even more disdainfully. A mere Emperor domain is not worthy of being used in front of my Emperor domain. What a joke! After saying that, the Dragonblood Emperor actually dove down towards the domain power that Chu Hen had released. Rumble! The power of the 9 dragons was unstoppable. The Dragonblood Emperor was like an ice-breaking sword that cut through the purple halo domain, setting off a majestic momentum as he rushed towards Chu Hen. Everyone thought that Chu Hen would avoid the attack. However, beyond everyone's expectations, a purple flame immediately ignited around Chu Hen's body. Swoosh! Chu Hen erupted with powerful speed and offense to meet the attack head-on. As he moved, The purple flames that enveloped Chu Hen slowly flowed with a series of strange black spirals. The domineering aura filled the sky and earth. The black light swirled rapidly behind Chu Hen, immediately forming a black shadow that was exactly the same as his silhouette. Your Majesty? I hope you can still laugh later. Oomph. I also hope you can be as confident later. Chapter 17:08. In 1 second, remember. Exciting pop-up window, free reading. Buzz, buzz. A domineering aura filled the sky and earth. The aura of the Dragon Blood Emperor's Wrath of the Nine Dragons enveloped Chu Hen like a destructive storm. On the other hand, Chu Hen was not afraid at all. His entire body was flowing with a beautiful purple-colored flame. Black shadow wings circled around his back and swiftly agglomerated into a demon-like figure. Hiss! The stars exploded and the wind split the clouds. Chu Hen and the Dragon Blood Emperor were like two meteorites that had unexpectedly met in the void. As soon as the two collided, the entire space within the Nine Dragons' territory became distorted and cracked. A vast and powerful chaotic shockwave swept out in all directions. The water below the river caved in rapidly, and the aftermath of the collision swept out with a crushing force. The surrounding people who were fighting in the chaotic battle were sent flying one after another. This guy can actually take the Dragon Blood Emperor's attack. The Imperial Beast Saint Tribe, Rock Saint Tribe, and Storm Saint Tribe were all shocked. Even though Chu Hen had killed the Lightning Emperor and achieved the title of Emperor Chu, the Lightning Emperor was clearly not on the same level as the Dragon Blood Emperor. The Dragon Blood Emperor was an extraordinary existence that stood at the peak of this world. Chu Hen's life value was not even over 100 years. It was hard to imagine that Chu Hen could take the Dragon Blood Emperor's attack head-on without being at a disadvantage. It was truly shocking. Palace Master Mu Fei, how are you? At the same time, Yin Fushu brought Mu Fei to another flowing cloud, Arkansas. Even though Mu Fei held his chest with one hand and his face was extremely pale, he endured his injuries and got up to look at the sky above the Nine Dragons' territory. I didn't expect Long Ling to come here. I was too careless, Mu Fei said regretfully. Yin Fushu's eyes dimmed. Even he did not expect the Dragon Blood Emperor to guard the Beast Dao world. One must know that the other four realms were all led by Emperor-level existences. Logically speaking, they should be heading to the other four realms. However, the Dragon Blood Emperor had appeared here. It was truly surprising. However, when he thought about it from another perspective, this was also the brilliance of his opponent. Because there were no great emperors among the troops attacking the Beast Dao world, the Dragon Blood Great Emperor could easily defeat the invasion. This was also the opponent's strategy. Boom! Within the Nine Dragons domain, the incomparably chaotic flow of true essence was like a raging storm. Between Chu Hen and the Dragon Blood Emperor, one was enveloped in purple flames and a black shadow, while the other was shrouded in golden light and a dragon shadow. The two of them fought wildly in the domain space, their fists and palms clashing. Bang! Bang! Both of their attacks were especially ferocious. It could be said that every punch hit the flesh, and every palm hit the bone. The chaotic fist shadows and palm prints were overwhelming and dazzling. Dragon Blood Sacred Body. Among the 10 strongest sacred clans, their explosive power was second only to the Desolate Sacred Clan. Not only did it have explosive power, but it also had an extremely strong defense. In close combat, the Dragon Bloodline Sacred Clan was definitely superior to the Demon Eye Sacred Clan. However, Chu Hen not only had the Demon Eye Sacred Body bloodline, but he also had the Chaotic bloodline that once dominated the 10 Directions Sacred Clan. The physical strength of the Chaotic Divine Body bloodline in the past was definitely unparalleled. Every time the two of them clashed, it was comparable to the collision of stars, and sparks flew like mountains. Don't think too highly of yourself. Don't embarrass yourself when you've already abandoned the bloodline. The Dragon Blood Emperor roared and swung his arm horizontally, grabbing at Chu Hen's throat like a bolt of lightning. As it neared Chu Hen's throat, the Dragon Blood Emperor's arm suddenly turned into a sharp dragon claw. The golden arc blade claw slashed through the air, and a few cracks in the space were immediately torn open. Chu Hen's expression changed slightly, and he moved to the side, dodging the Dragon Blood Emperor's sharp claw. Then, the Dragon Blood Emperor's other arm swung forward. Swish, swish, swish. A few rapid, wind-tearing sounds suddenly drilled into his ears, only to see a few golden daggers flying out of the Dragon Blood Emperor's palm sleeves. Each dagger was surrounded by a murderous dark aura. The dagger's shape was especially strange. The sharp blades were like dragon claws, and they were covered in fine dragon scales. "It's the inverted scale shadow thorn," Yen Fushu exclaimed. "Be careful, Chu Hen. That's a divine artifact with a 9-dragon cauldron." Hiss! Several shadow daggers with dark aura lingering around them swept past Chu Hen's body. Even though Chu Hen's reaction was fast enough, a few neat and deep wounds appeared on his chest and back. A sharp pain spread through every nerve in his body. Blood flowed rapidly. Chu Hen's expression changed slightly. The wounds couldn't heal. One must know that with Chu Hen's current cultivation, such injuries could heal in an instant. But to his surprise, he could clearly feel that the wounds couldn't heal. Wounds inflicted by the inverted scale shadow thorn can't be healed or stopped bleeding in a short time. The Dragon Blood Emperor sneered, then bent his fingers. Swish, swish! The dragon scale dagger that flew out once again flew back along the trajectory it had traveled. Chu Hen dodged several times, and although he managed to dodge a few of the shadow thorns, 2 more wounds appeared on his body. Chu Hen was too careless. Mu Fei frowned and said uneasily. Yen Fushu's expression was also solemn. His opponent was the Dragon Blood Emperor, an existence that stood at the peak of the human venerable realm, and the inverted scale shadow thorn coexisted with the 9-dragon cauldron on the divine artifact ranking. The two were one, but they could also be separated. One focused on attack, the other on function. Especially in the hands of the Dragon Blood Emperor, the inverted scale shadow thorn could unleash even greater lethality. As the shadow daggers returned to the Dragon Blood Emperor's hand, the formless sharpness once again shook the surroundings. Chu Hen's purple pupils immediately emitted a powerful ripple of energy as he sensed the endless cold and sharp aura emanating from the Dragon Blood Emperor. The 9 stars rotated and the wind blew. Then, countless purple light pillars gathered around Chu Hen's body like a whirlwind that stirred up the heaven and earth. 9-star demon eyes, demon spirit void. Isn't it a little too late for the demonic spirit void transformation? The Dragon Blood Emperor sneered. Swish! Swish! As soon as he finished speaking, the Dragon Blood Emperor's eyes flashed. With him as the center, nearly 100 inverted scale shadow thorns spread out in all directions. The Dragon Blood Emperor felt like he was surrounded by countless shadow blades. Then, he moved like a phantom and instantly appeared in front of Chu Hen. Reverse shadow thorn. No life under the blade. Only death under the blade. Along with the momentum, the Dragon Blood Emperor raised his hand and gently pressed his palm on the center of the Nirvana demon spirit that had yet to fully materialize. This palm is enough to kill you. Hum! The Dragon Blood Emperor's seemingly gentle palm landed in front of Chu Hen. Accompanied by the peerless sharpness and ruthlessness of heaven and earth, the nearly 100 inverted scale shadow blades that were scattered in the void suddenly gathered at one point and flew toward Chu Hen. The dense shadow daggers exuded a sharp killing intent. The concentrated shadow blades sliced through the purple light pillars that filled the sky. With a muffled bang, the reverse scale thorn shadow, which had gathered at a single point, pierced through the body of the Nirvana demon spirit that had yet to completely transform. Furthermore, its attack did not decrease, but instead increased as it charged towards Chu Hen, who was at the center of the Nirvana demon spirit. The concentrated inverted scale shadow blades were extremely fast. Like streaks of light, they instantly converged at one point. They were like eagles returning to their nest, or like blades returning to their roots. Hiss! Chu Hen was directly hit by the concentrated shadow blades, and the Dragon Blood Emperor's palm energy also penetrated. Shortly after, under countless gazes that were doubly shocked, Chu Hen's chest actually exploded from the middle. His bones and internal organs were quickly crushed by the inverted scale shadow blades. It's over. Chapter 1709. Reverse Shadow Thorn. There is no life under the blade, only death under the blade. The reverse scale shadow thorns converged at one point, like sharp swords of light, and struck Chu Hen's body along with the Dragonblood Emperor's powerful palm force. Chu Hen, Long Qingyang, Yi Yao, and the others were all shocked. Mu Fei, Yin Fushu, and the others' expressions also changed, and their brows sank. This endless sharp night blades interweaved, and Chu Hen's chest instantly burst open. His body seemed to have encountered an extremely terrifying destructive cutting force. It was like a lotus that had bloomed from within, rapidly blooming. His bones and internal organs were all twisted and smashed into smithereens. It's over. The Dragonblood Emperor smiled coldly and disdainfully. However, in the next instant, Chu Hen's body, which had been crushed by the reverse scale shadow thorn, suddenly emitted an even stronger purple demonic flame. There was no sign of pain or panic on his face. It's still early. Your Majesty. The playful smile caused the Dragonblood Emperor's pupils to narrow, and the latter's eyes turned cold as he said in a low voice, "Purple flame clone, bang!" Along with the voice, a heavy and shocking explosion suddenly shook the sky above the Beast Dao world. Chu Hen, in front of the Dragonblood Emperor, was like an exploding star, and a monstrous purple storm rose into the sky. The raging sea of purple flames was like a nebula vortex, and it swept towards the Dragonblood Emperor with the power to crush the heavens. The Dragonblood Emperor's expression turned cold. "Umph. How long can you resist with such insignificant skills?" With that, the chi of the 9 dragons surged around the Dragonblood Emperor, and the magnificent and domineering dragon shadows circled around him, completely blocking the surging purple flame storm. Screech! But right at this moment, a pair of mysterious and enormous violet-colored demon eyes suddenly appeared in the sky above the violet storm that raged through the 9 heavens. The evil and charming demon eyes were like the eyes of a fiend god that looked down upon the heavens. Subsequently, the 9 black dots in the depths of the demon eyes chased after each other as they revolved, causing the heavens and the earth to tremble rhythmically, and the boundless might that suffused them was comparable to the rotation of the stars. As the terrifying energy fluctuations stacked in his eyes, the space beneath the Dragonblood Emperor suddenly caved in. Immediately after, an incomparably huge fiend god hand with billions of purple light swirling around it appeared in the sky below the Dragonblood Emperor. The world-shaking power manifested the divine might of the Milky Way. It's actually the demonic Eye Emperor's technique. The heavenly mystery palace master Mu Fei's pale face was filled with shock. Those from the Rock Saint tribe, the Imperial Bee Saint tribe, and the Storm Saint tribe were shocked as well. 9-star demon eyes, heaven's smiting grasp. Chu Hen's voice was like a clap of thunder. Boom! The aura of destruction rapidly gathered toward the Dragonblood Emperor, and the purple fiend god hand was like the claw of an ancient beast that tore through the void. The sharp, barb-like fingers quickly closed, and the space where the Dragonblood Emperor was immediately crushed by an endless force. Sensing that the space where he was rapidly collapsing and that the power coming from all directions was gathering toward him, the Dragonblood Emperor's eyes could not help but flash with a cold light. The rumors are true. You really did obtain the demonic Eye Emperor's power. However, this is far from enough. After saying that, the Dragonblood Emperor's dark golden eyes flickered with a vertical brilliance. His sleeves fluttered, and a countercurrent shot into the sky. Roar, an impassioned and domineering dragon roar came from his throat, and the image of a 5-clawed golden dragon with a shocking aura suddenly rushed toward the Milky Way from behind the Dragonblood Emperor. The purple heaven smiting hand clenched rapidly. The 5-clawed golden dragon danced in the sky. Boom! One opened and one closed, and the two different wild forces suddenly collided and converged. In an instant, the nine heavens almost collapsed. Purple brilliance and dark golden holy light intersected and blossomed in the sky above the Beast Tao realm. The world changed color, and the wind and clouds roared. Under many horrified gazes, the giant purple hand that was reaching for the Dragonblood Emperor was rapidly shattered by the five-clawed golden dragon's fierce attack. Countless beams of golden light, like sharp swords piercing through the air, first pierced through the giant hand's fingers, and then continued to pierce through the palm and the back of the hand. The five-clawed golden dragon's aura shook the nine heavens. Everyone's expression changed again and again. In front of the Dragonblood Emperor, this super rising star of the younger generation, Emperor Chu, was still a notch weaker in terms of strength. However, before the people in the Beast Tao realm could make a further judgment, the purple demon god's eyes that overlooked the entire realm started to vibrate intensely again. Nine-star demon eyes, demon sealing lock. Whoosh. Rumble. Following that, dozens of purple chains that looked like divine dragon vines appeared out of nowhere from the sea of demonic flames that was churning chaotically. Every iron chain flickered with a glaze-like brilliance. The huge chains locked the sky, trapping the Dragonblood Emperor and the five-clawed golden dragon in the center. The purple demon sealing chain was like the stinger of a poisonous scorpion, bursting with extremely strong penetrative power. It pierced through the five-clawed golden dragon's huge body, forming a seal. Buzz! The chains erupted with astonishing sealing power, and the five-clawed golden dragon struggled and roared. However, before the five-clawed golden dragon could break free from the demon sealing lock, in the sky above the higher regions, an extremely terrifying black storm suddenly appeared. That's Yin Fushu, Mu Fei, and the others raised their brows. In an instant, an incomparably cold, violent, and terrifying aura enveloped the sky of the Beast Tao world, and a series of heavy explosions rang out. A large area of space collapsed and was rapidly torn apart. In the sky above the collapsing Beast Tao realm, there were actually countless black Tao patterns intertwined. Each Tao pattern, flashing between heaven and earth, was like a mysterious ancient talisman that covered the nine heavens, or like black lightning suspended in the air. They seemed to have been carved by the hands of ancient gods. Looking from afar, every inch and every section seemed to contain an extremely domineering aura of destruction. The Tao scripture, Yin Fushu, who was also from the chaotic tribe, lightly clenched his fists and spat out a few words in a heavy tone. Then, an even more terrifying aura spread in all directions. Everyone's pupils shrank. They saw Chu Hen standing proudly in the sky, emitting the aura of a monarch. He looked down at the Dragonblood Emperor with a condescending posture. And behind Chu Hen, a 10,000-meter-tall black shadow stood in the void like a god-fiend. Swish, swish, swish. In the palm of the black god-fiend shadow, countless black Tao patterns, glowing with mysterious light, gathered in his hand. The powerful black vortex was like a turbine that stirred up the heaven and earth. In the blink of an eye, a high-speed flywheel was born in the palm of his hand. It was a black flywheel with 4 sharp curve hooks. As it rotated at high speed, it released a sharp roar of the wind. Chu Hen looked down at the ferocious five-clawed golden dragon shadow. His lips moved slightly, and he indifferently spat out a few words. Great Tao, stars severing. Along with Chu Hen's calm voice, the god-fiend shadow in the sky directly raised its arm. Then, the black vortex in its hand dragged the destructive aura that could shatter the star-severing river as it flew towards the domain that was sealed by the demon seal. Whoosh! The black vortex was like a dark nebula vortex, dragging out an extremely long spatial crack in the void. The unparalleled, destructive aura of the dark clouds gathered. The Shadow Blade Whirlwind Light Blade was the first to hit the huge five-clawed golden dragon. Boom! An extremely shocking scene erupted in the sky above the Beast Tao realm. Everyone's pupils shrank to a point. That move, Chuhin had once used it at the Sacred Clan Conference. That was the move that defeated Yu Shinin and won the championship. But this time, the might of the attack was far greater than the previous one. The Black Vortex Shadow Blade, like a destructive nebula vortex, hit the body of the five-clawed golden dragon. The latter's sacred and huge dragon body was directly and neatly cut in the middle. As the purple demon sealing iron chain was cut in half, the space where the Dragonblood Emperor was located was continuously cut apart. The destructive black vortex, nebula, shrouded the area like the Grim Reaper's scythe. The Dragonblood Emperor's dark golden vertical pupils flashed with a cold light. Hiss. Chapter 1710. Sixpad's World. It was a chaotic battle that shook the heavens and earth. The Sacred Race Alliance's expedition army attacked from 5 different directions, from 5 different realm entrances. They didn't know what was going on in the 5 realms. But there was no doubt that an especially intense battle had broken out in every domain at this moment. Hell Dao World. It was also known as the Underworld Dao World. Here, the army formed by the Divine I Saint Clan and the Sky-Burning Saint Clan was fighting against the main forces of the Darkness Saint Clan, the Light Saint Clan, and the other Saint Clans. The earth-shattering battle ignited the huge Hell Dao World. The fiery hell burned with a sea of fire. The frost hell covered in ice and snow. The desert hell filled with dust, and so on. The Underworld Dao World's many hell domains were filled with blood and corpses. According to seniority, the Burning Sky Emperor side would definitely be the leader of this expedition. However, due to the aggravation of the grievances between the Sky-Burning Saint Clan and the Reincarnation Saint Clan, the Sky-Burning Monarch took the lead and charged deep into the enemy's territory, setting off an endless massacre. Those who stand in my way will die. The Sky-Burning Monarch's eyes were bloodshot. The hatred and anger that had accumulated in his heart over the past few days was constantly released, and the people in front of him were all targets for him to vent his anger on. Those who conspire with Universe God Guji will die. Boom! The overbearing and berserk scarlet divine punishment flames of annihilation was like a flaming cloud that engulfed the sky. Wherever it passed, it was like a halo that swept through the galaxy. Anyone that was struck by it was instantly incinerated to ashes. Anger. True anger. Everyone could feel the hatred and resentment emanating from the Sky-Burning Monarch. He was like a god of fire that burned the Underworld Dao World to ashes. The Sky-Burning Monarch's power is really terrifying. Based on this attack, we should be the first team to enter the Heaven Dao World. On the leading giant flowing cloud ship, the commanders of the Divine I Saint Clan paid close attention to the current situation. The Sky-Burning Monarch was unstoppable. With the Sky-Burning Monarch as the vanguard, the Divine I Saint Clan's army pressed into the depths of the Underworld Dao World. Even though the main forces of the Light Saint Clan and the Darkness Saint Clan tried their best to resist. However, he was still forced to retreat again and again. The enormous and majestic ships looked like prehistoric fierce beasts that had occupied an ancient territory. I wonder how the other domains are doing. Mo Qing Li, who was standing next to Bai Qianyu, raised her beautiful eyes, which were like red gemstones, slightly solemn. Bai Qianyu glanced to the side and said, "Don't worry. As long as any of the 5 armies enter the Heavenly Law Realm, they'll be able to attack the Samsara Saint Clan from all sides and disrupt their internal formation." The Heaven Dao Realm was the central base of the Six Paths World. It was also the main city of the Samsara Saint Clan. The 5 armies closed in. If one side broke through the defense of the main city, then the main forces scattered in the other domains would definitely have to return to defend. At that time, they would be able to reduce the resistance of the other armies. At that time, they only needed to fight in the periphery of the Heaven Dao World and wait for the 5 armies to converge before attacking the Heaven Dao World together. Boom! Suddenly, at this moment, the space around the burning Heaven Emperor, who was wantonly slaughtering his enemies, was startled by an extremely powerful energy fluctuation. As the space on both sides began to distort and shake, a dazzling saint light as bright as the sun suddenly erupted from the left side of the sky-burning emperor. Then, without any warning, a black storm of destruction appeared on Burning Sky Monarch's right side. That is, the people of the Holy-Eyed Saint clan who were on the ships were shocked. Light, darkness. Two completely different and opposite forces suddenly shrouded Burning Sky Monarch's left and right sides. The light was especially dazzling. The darkness was like an abyss. The two different forces were like a cosmic nebula wormhole that surrounded Burning Sky Monarch. In an instant, Burning Sky Monarch seemed to have fallen into the boundary of darkness and light. Half of him was in the light, while the other half was in the dark. Buzz, buzz. An extremely strong sealing force completely shackled Burning Sky Monarch from both sides. Then, under everyone's shocked gazes, a huge star sphere with a diameter of more than 10,000 meters appeared in the sky above the underworld Tao realm. This star sphere was half white, while the other half was black. Burning Sky Monarch was at the center of the boundary of black and white. The aura of the dark clouds that covered the sky filled the entire Hell Tao world. The powerful, piercingly cold, glowing vortexes revolved around the surface of the star sphere like a cosmic storm, causing people to feel extremely pressured. The eyes of the Holy-Eyed Saint clan and the Sky-Burning Saint clan were filled with shock. "There's indeed a trap," one of the higher-ups of the Holy-Eyed Saint clan said in a deep voice. Previously, they were worried that Burning Sky Monarch would rush too far ahead and fall into a trap. However, they did not stop Burning Sky Monarch because he was a great emperor. Fits you two dogs. Burning Sky Monarch's eyes burned in the boundary of darkness and light. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, two spots of light appeared in the area of darkness and light on both sides of him. Two figures appeared in the two spots of light. From afar, they looked like twin stars alternating between the two worlds of dawn and night. It's the clan leaders of the Light Saint clan and the Dark Saint clan. The higher-up of the Holy-Eyed Saint clan said in a deep voice. What are they trying to do? Everyone had a bad feeling about this and turned to look at Bai Qinyu. They wanted to ask him if he wanted to rescue them. However, Bai Qinyu's expression was rather calm. Her pair of beautiful peach blossom eyes quietly observed the situation in front of her. "You're too impulsive, Burning Sky Monarch." A mocking voice from the Dark Saint clan reached Burning Sky Monarch's ears. "Oomph. Do you really think you can defeat me with just the two of you?" The Dark Saint clan leader sneered. "Great Emperor, you think too highly of us. How could the two of us be a match for you?" The patriarch of the Sacred Darkness clan revealed a strange smile. Then, a trace of pride appeared in his eyes. "Although we can't kill you, we can drag you into the deepest part of the underworld path." "What? The deepest part of the underworld path?" The people of the Holy-Eyed Saint clan and the Burning Sky Saint clan were shocked. As soon as he finished speaking, the fault of the river on the ground cracked open. Along with the long slope of the mountain that split open from the middle, an infinitely extending abyssal crack quickly appeared. Countless dazzling, mysterious light sources surged out from the crack in the ground. Thousands of ancient runes and secret scrolls covered the ground like spiritual vines. Everyone in the Nether Tao world shuddered when they saw the huge gap in the ground. A dark and cold whirlwind surged out of the huge abyss crack. Then the half-light, half-dark star sphere, floating in the void, slowly fell to the ground. As it moved, the countless spiritual vines that originated from the abyss quickly wrapped around the surface of the star sphere. It was as if mysterious light chains were binding the half-black, half-white star and dragging it into the abyss. "Haha, Emperor, this is the ultimate confinement technique that the two of us have personally prepared for you. We know that we are no match for you, but once you sink into the deepest part of the underworld path, there will be nothing there. No matter how strong your cultivation base is, you will never be able to see the light of day." "Ha ha ha." The Light Saint clan leader laughed heartily. "Don't even think about it." The Burning Sky Saint Emperor's face was as dark as frost. He tried to mobilize the powerful quintessential essence in his body to break through the confinement, but he found that his power seemed to be compressed into an extremely narrow space. It felt as if his limbs were tied up, and he could not release his power at all. Don't struggle pointlessly. This technique is specially made for you. The energy of light is responsible for sealing your violet kingdom true origin, and the energy of darkness is used to suppress the limits of your bloodline. This technique is called the twin seal. The Light Saint clan leader smiled proudly. Also, don't underestimate us. The power of our two clans is not weak at all. Not weak at all. Everyone's heart could not help but tremble. Indeed, the Light Saint clan and the Darkness Saint clan had never been weak clans. In fact, the two clans were only second to the 10 strongest sacred clans. As the most powerful clan leaders of the two clans, their strength was naturally not a problem. They had to admit that the Burning Sky Saint Emperor had obviously underestimated his opponent this time. Buzz buzz. The abyssal crack on the ground was like a huge mouth that had opened. The star sphere that had fused the power of light and power of darkness was constantly closing in on the ground. How could the experts of the Burning Sky Saint clan let this happen? Emperor, we're here to help you. Dozens of figures with extraordinary auras rushed towards the star sphere that was half dark and half light from different angles. However, as soon as they got close to the star sphere, a violent nebulous storm swept across. A powerful black and white halo was like an arc of shock wave after a star had shattered. The people of the Burning Sky Saint clan who were hit by it were all sent flying, and they spat out large mouthfuls of blood. At the same time, Beast Dao World, Great Dao Slash of Stars. The black light, rotating shadow blade cut the five-clawed giant dragon in half like a galaxy in the sky. Then, its attack did not decrease at all as it slashed towards the dragon blood emperor below. It was extremely sharp, and its aura could destroy the heavens. Chu Hen's attack was like the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Bang! An extremely heavy explosion shook the sky above the Beast Dao World. The sky turned dark, as if a meteor had exploded. The powerful storm that tore through the void swam everywhere. The light, rotating shadow blade that filled the sky shot everywhere. The violent black whirlwind continued to expand, and the dark storm that tore through the void instantly swallowed the Dragon Blood Emperor. In an instant, the entire 9 Dragons domain turned into a death zone. Chapter 17:11. 1 second to remember. Wonderful pop-up window. Free reading. Boom. Bang. The endless storm that tore the sky apart covered the sky and covered the earth. The space of the 9 Dragons domain, which was divided by the 9 gigantic dragon statues, was reduced to a death zone. Dao power. Chaos bloodline. A violent galactic hurricane exploded in the sky above the Beast Dao realm. The void was sliced apart layer by layer. Long and narrow spatial cracks interweaved like dark thunder and lightning. Feeling the destructive aura from Chu Hen's series of attacks, the storm, rocks, and the Imperial Bee Sacred Clan's people all paled. Even Mu Fei, Yin Fushu, and the others couldn't help but narrow their eyes. Is this the scripture of Tao, created by the Chaos God race's celestial arch? Its power is extraordinary indeed. Mu Fei sighed. Yin Fushu nodded with a hint of hope in his eyes. Back then, Rantian lent me the scripture of Tao to read. Unfortunately, I couldn't comprehend its profoundness. Oh, with your talent, you can't comprehend the scripture Tao? Mu Fei was surprised. One should know that Yin Fushu and Chu Rantian were known as the twin stars of the Chaos God race. They were equally famous. Yin Fushu shook his head. In terms of talent, I'm indeed on par with Rantian. However, the strength of the bloodline boundary is much weaker. The scripture of Tao must be activated with a strong, chaotic bloodline power. This is also one of the reasons why I can't cultivate it. Mu Fei nodded to express his understanding. Then he asked, how is Chu Rantian's bloodline boundary compared to the Celestial Thearchas? I'm not sure about the difference between Rantian and the Celestial Arch. However, Hung Heir's bloodline boundary is still slightly weaker than Rantian's, Yin Fushu answered. Mu Fei frowned. a trace of surprise on his face. Roar! However, at this moment, an impassioned dragon roar resounded, causing the entire beast Dao world to tremble. Everyone was shocked. Bang! With a deafening explosion, a powerful storm surged in the center of the Nine Dragons' domain. Accompanied by the surging energy of the Nine Dragons, the black nebula vortex exploded in all directions. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the Dragonblood Emperor transformed into a dragon with his saint blood. Under the chaotic shadow blade lights that filled the sky, a ferocious and terrifying golden dragon that exuded a peerless and tyrannical aura appeared in everyone's eyes. Its ferocious might shook the heavens. It was truly a ferocious might that shook the heavens. The huge beast our realm was shaking uneasily. The giant dragon that the Dragonblood Emperor had transformed into was exceptionally domineering and terrifying. Beneath its dark golden scales, there were incomparably dazzling patterns of light. A pair of dragon wings appeared in the shape of huge hooks. From afar, it looked like it had 6 dragon claws. You want to defeat me with just this? Far from it. The Dragonblood Emperor's voice was like a clap of thunder. He glared at Chu Hen in the sky with his cold and ferocious golden pupils. To be able to force this emperor to this extent, you should be proud of yourself. Boom! The instant he finished speaking, the ominous being that was like an ancient dragon that covered the sky opened its ferocious mouth like a sacrificial bowl. Accompanied by a blazing and dense dragon's breath, a huge pillar of light that pierced through the 9 heavens shot straight towards Chu Hen. A mighty aura swept across the sky, causing the heavens and earth to tremble and the sky to lose its color. Chu Hen's pupils shrank slightly. In a hurry, he reached out with one palm, and a series of violent purple whirlwind and lightning arcs immediately gathered in front of him to form an arc-shaped light shield. A terrifyingly huge force penetrated through. Pong! A gorgeous golden light source's aftermath rippled out in all directions in front of Chu Hen's body, along with the shattered and distorted domain space. Chu Hen suddenly felt his arm go numb. At the same time that the purple shield in front of him shattered, his entire body was hit by the extremely violent pillar of light. The chaotic golden flames surged in the sky. Chu Hen quickly retreated backward. However, the Dragonblood Emperor didn't give Chu Hen a chance to catch his breath at all. He flapped his claw-like dragon wings and pounced at Chu Hen with the power to tear the sky apart. I'm going to crush every single one of your bones. I'm afraid you're thinking too much. Chu Hen's eyes turned cold. Bang! A crisp explosion could be heard from Chu Hen's left arm. Roar! Another dragon roar. Everyone in the Beast Owl world felt their heartstrings tremble. This dragon roar seemed to contain the throbbing of their souls. Powerful purple flames and black aura rose from Chu Hen's left arm. Then, a particularly strange dragon-shaped secret tome appeared. A vivid and lifelike dragon shadow lingered around Chu Hen's arm, moving up and down. It was like a totem tattoo that quietly emerged. Roar! Together with its ferocious and domineering aura, it made people shudder. A monstrous black beam of light pierced through the sky, and a powerful creature covered in dense black scales, exuding a boundless dark aura, suddenly broke through the shackles and pounced toward the Dragonblood Emperor. It had a perfect body, ancient and domineering, and a pair of vertical giant eyes that looked down on the world. Black Dragon. Everyone's expression changed again and again. For many people, this wasn't the first time they had seen this ferocious creature. They clearly remembered it. During the Sacred Race Conference, this berserk black dragon had easily torn apart Yu Shinin's chest, who had dead beast void form. When the Dragonblood Emperor Lord saw the black dragon that was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, his metallic eyes burned with rage. He roared, "How dare you use it against me? Do you know that this is the heart beast of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan?" Heart beast. The furious roar shook countless people, causing their blood to churn. Everyone's eyes widened. That black dragon is the heart beast of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan? Ow! Roar! Roar! The Dragon Blood Emperor, who had transformed into an ancient dragon, fought the black dragon furiously. The two dragons clashed with their claws and teeth, biting and tearing at each other. Their hook-like claws dug into each other's scales, and scorching dragon breaths sprayed out like flames. In the sky, the scene of two ferocious creatures fighting each other was shocking. The spectacular scene gave everyone a great visual impact, and at the same time, everyone's heart was in turmoil. Even Mu Fei stared at Yin Fushu in disbelief. That's the heart beast of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan? Everyone knew. Back when the Celestial Arch calmed the chaotic times and took control of the human race, many Sacred Clan members were dissatisfied. The Dragon Blood Emperor was one of them. However, the Celestial Arch suppressed all the races and even killed the heart beast of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan to intimidate everyone in the 9 states. Therefore, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was the only sacred clan without a heart beast. Yin Fushu was silent for a moment, then answered, Probably. Mu Fei asked. Back then, when the Celestial Arch killed the heart beast, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan didn't bring its corpse back. As for what to do with the heart beast's corpse, very few people knew. Later, according to the clan's elders, the Celestial Arch found that a sliver of the black dragon's beast soul hadn't been destroyed, so he sent an elder to seal it somewhere. Yin Fushu's eyes were a little surprised as he spoke. He didn't think that after so long, the black dragon's remnant soul would attach itself to Chu Hen's body. Mu Fei nodded. So that's how it is. The black dragon's remnant soul must have been absorbing Chu Hen's power, but now that it's been tamed by Chu Hen, it no longer obeys the Dragon Blood Emperor's summons. It had to be said that the scene was a little comical. Chu Hen had used the heart beast of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan against the Dragon Blood Emperor. After so many years, the connection between the Dragon Blood Emperor and the Black Dragon had been severed, and the summoning contract had lost its effect. If the Dragon Blood Emperor wanted to take it back, the first thing he had to do was to kill Chu Hen and release the Black Dragon from its imprisonment. Chapter 17:12. Roar! Roar! The world was in chaos, and the remnant waves of air that were recklessly released were like the collisions of nebulae. The primordial dragon formed by the Dragon Blood Emperor and the Black Dragon summoned by Chu Hen were like two ancient ferocious beasts that tore apart the blue dome of heaven. They intertwined with each other and erupted into an intense battle. Bang! The black dragon's claws were as sharp as iron pincers, and its fangs were like steel blades, leaving bloody wounds on the Dragon Blood Emperor's huge body. The Dragon Blood Emperor's claws were also extremely sharp. Every claw caused space to crack and the black dragon's scales to fly everywhere. Black Dragon, the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe's heart beast. The scene in front of him was shocking and frightening. Back then, the Dragon Blood Emperor had summoned the Black Dragon to fight against the Celestial Arch. Today, he was facing off against his own heart beast. However, although the Black Dragon was the heart beast of the Dragon Blood Sacred Tribe, its condition was far from its peak. It was only a remnant of its soul, and although it had recovered a lot of power with Chu Hen's help, it was still in a state of low health compared to before. Soon, the Dragon Blood Emperor suppressed the Black Dragon's monstrous ferocity. Dragon Emperor, Heavenly Yuan Wave. The ancient dragon, transformed from the Dragon Blood Emperor, let out a deafening roar. Then, the wind became fierce, and the clouds became angry. Countless powerful, dark, golden spirit patterns flowed between heaven and earth and entered the ancient dragon's mouth. Buzz, the sky trembled, and light bloomed like stars. The ancient dragon raised its head, and a huge wave of light like the sun's rays erupted from its mouth. Bang! The jade ball of light, containing an endless aura of destruction, struck the black dragon's body. In an instant, the sky changed color, and a violent, dark, golden vortex spread between the two like an expanding storm. The incomparably fierce power was like an exploding star. It smashed into the black dragon's body. The dragon's scales flew into the sky, and blood splattered everywhere. Its huge body was sent flying like a mountain, and then it landed heavily on the ground. Boom! The mountain ridge was broken, and the black dragon crashed through several mountain ranges before it was able to stop. Rocks of all sizes were sent flying, and a thick layer of the ground was scraped off. The expressions of everyone who witnessed this scene changed. The black dragon's strength was much weaker than before. Roar! The ancient dragon that the Dragon Blood Emperor had transformed into let out a violent roar, emitting a furious and domineering aura that caused the blood in one's body to become restless. An invisible sound wave spread out. Countless people in the Beast Dao world felt unsteady on their feet. Mu Fei, Yin Fushu, Long Qingyang, and the others looked at Chu Hen worriedly. The Dragon Blood Emperor, one of the 10 great emperors, was really too strong. The Thunderbolt Great Emperor wasn't even a tenth of his opponent's strength. You really deserve to die for using your clan's heart beast against me. The Dragon Blood Emperor's large eyes were filled with boundless killing intent. Then he revealed a cold sneer. But you're indulging in fantasy. Even the heart beast of my people can't kill me. Humph. I'm going to kill you right now, then bring back the black dragon. As soon as he finished speaking, the ancient dragon's claws spread across the sky, setting off countless whirlpools of wind blades. Its enormous body pounced toward Chu Hen like thousands of bolts of lightning. Chu Hen seemed insignificant in front of the other party, be it in terms of size or aura. He was as small as an ant. However, facing the ancient dragon that stirred up a hurricane, Chu Hen, who stood proudly in the void, did not move. He was as determined as a statue. Since your clan's heart beast can't defeat you, then what about this? As soon as Chu Hen said that, a sharp air wave suddenly appeared in his eyes. Li, everyone's heartstrings tightened. Chu Hen's deep purple eyes once again emitted a demonic light. A purple hurricane that shook the heavens, and the earth rose up in the sky in a rhythmic manner. Streaks of extremely violent purple streams soared into the sky. The ground was dark, and dark clouds covered the sky. In the sky of the Beast Dao world, which quickly fell into darkness, storms rapidly gathered, and beams of purple light pierced through the thick dark clouds and scattered in the sky. The purple light beams shot down at a certain angle, and then refracted in another direction. The beautiful beams of light intertwined in the sky, shuttling left and right like mysterious constellations in the vast universe. It was extremely spectacular. Everyone in the Beast Dao world was shocked. Mu Fei and Yin Fushu could not help but look at each other. They could see the deep shock in each other's eyes. An incomparably strong spatial rhythm filled the sky of the Beast Dao world. Under countless pairs of bewildered gazes, the center of the dazzling constellation pattern that sealed the sky above the Beast Dao world released a terrifying power rhythm that made one palpitate. Boom! The deafening explosion almost pierced through everyone's eardrums. The space inside the constellation pattern collapsed rapidly, and a huge vortex hole was forcibly torn open by some overbearing power. Rumble. Like an abyss that connected to the other side of the universe, the crack rapidly expanded, and a huge phantom that seemed to come from the darkness of the abyss entered everyone's sight. That aura made one's heart tremble. This scene, it had appeared in the Sacred Race Conference before, but it seemed to be different from that time. Roar! Suddenly, heaven and earth shook, and people's hearts trembled. Under countless pairs of widened eyes, billions of purple lights intertwined, and an incomparably ferocious aura surged out like a torrent. Under the torn sky, a huge creature overflowing with purple light directly crossed the plane's boundary and appeared in the sky above the Beast Dao world. Heavens? Everyone was shocked. Everyone was shocked, especially Li Wushang, Rao Feiwan, Li Kuan, and the others of the Demon Eye clan. They felt their hearts stop. Heart beast. Li Wushang's voice trembled. The Demon Eye clan's heart beast? How is that possible? Heart beast. It was different from the one at the Sacred Race Conference. That time, it was just a black silhouette. This time, everyone could clearly sense and see its existence. Roar. a roar that made people's souls tremble. Whether it was the Alliance's side or the side guarding the Beast Owl world, everyone's eyes trembled uneasily. The Heavenly Mystery Palace's palace master, Mu Fei's lips moved slightly, and she spat out a few words with a trembling voice. Ominous star, nine-winged ho! Ominous star, nine-winged ho! The Demon Eye clan's heart beast. Before this, only the Demon Eye Emperor could summon such a peerless, ferocious beast. It was so huge that it looked like a giant ship floating in the sky. Its head was like a hunchback, its neck like a snake, its front claws like an eagle, and its back claws like a tiger. Its body was covered with purple scales that looked like iron armor, and there were 4 lightning-like wings on its back. It also had a wing on its tail. The wing on its tail was as sharp as a blade. When the heart beast arrived, the 9 heavens paled. Tens of thousands of storms whistled past. Chu Hen, who was under the ominous star, nine-winged ho, was also surrounded by purple storms. He was like an unparalleled king that controlled the world, looking down on the Dragon Blood Emperor, who had transformed into an ancient dragon. The ominous star, nine-winged ho, has reappeared. Even as an emperor, how can you fight against it? The Dragon Blood Emperor's cold eyes were filled with endless murderous intent as he felt the ferocious aura coming from the ominous star, nine-winged ho. Not long ago, Chu Hen had only summoned a shadow. Now, he had directly replicated the Demon Eye Emperor's methods. Kill. The Dragon Blood Emperor was not afraid at all. So what if your heart beast? Even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, I will tear you into pieces today. Roar, roar. As soon as he finished speaking, the 9 dragon statues that stood in the sky burst out a dazzling light pillar that shot into the sky. Following that, countless majestic golden dragon shadows rushed out from the light pillar and gathered towards the Dragon Blood Emperor. As they moved, the dragon soul energy that filled the sky surged in front of the Dragon Blood Emperor. Boundless power rapidly converged within it, giving birth to a huge energy ball. The energy ball was constantly magnifying and colliding, and the illusion of 9 dragons lingered around it. Thunder rumbled and the wind howled. The Dragon Blood Emperor, who had transformed into an ancient dragon, raised his head and spat out a scorching dragon's breath. The dragon's breath erupted with a powerful force that surged toward the energy ball with 9 dragons lingering around it. Dragon Emperor, 9-souled Jade. Accompanied by a path of depression and distortion in space, the extremely terrifying 9-souled Jade sphere was like a destructive meteorite that traversed the blue dome of heaven. It swept up an aura that could pierce through the Milky Way and directly exploded towards Chu Hen's location. Disappear completely. A violent and powerful hurricane squeezed every inch of space. Chu Hen's eyes still had the demeanor of a king. The ominous star, nine-winged ho, the heart beast behind him, also burst out an ancient and mysterious aura. At the same time, countless rays of purple light shot down like a world-ending lightning tribulation. The sky seemed to be shrouded by a 3-dimensional light net that covered the sky. Then, the ominous star, nine-winged ho, also opened its mouth and spat out a powerful purple light pillar. Clang! Like peerless lightning that pierced through the sky, the huge pillar of heavenly light pierced through the clouds and the void. On its way down, it turned into a huge purple spike that flowed around and intertwined. It was comparable to the power of God's punishment. It was like a sword that could destroy the heavens. Rumble! Under the shocked gazes of the hundreds of thousands of people in the Beast Owl world, the 2 terrifying forces that could destroy the sky collided head-on. For example, the meteorite-like golden ball was surrounded by 9 dragons. The purple cylindrical spike that was comparable to God's punishment was intertwined with lightning. Bang! As soon as the 2 collided, the entire sky of the Beast Owl world suddenly collapsed. Powerful shock waves of different colors spread all the way like a broken storm nebula, layer after layer, terrifying like a tide. The sky collapsed and the earth collapsed. The mountains and rivers were all filled and flattened. The 9 dragons' domain, created by the Dragon Blood Emperor, was instantly torn apart, and the 9 dragon statues standing in the surroundings were shattered into millions and millions of crystal shards. Chapter 17:13. 9 Dragons Domain, Dragon Soul Fusion. Heart Beast descends. Ominous star covers the sky. Clang. At this moment, the entire Beast Owl world was turned upside down, and the nebula exploded. Under the shocked gazes of the various races and forces, the 9 Dragons Domain was instantly blown up by the violent shockwave. The sky collapsed, and a huge hole appeared in the 9 heavens. The aftermath of the recklessly sweeping light vortex, such as the constantly surging light of the galaxy, swept through the mountains and rivers of the Beast Tao world as if they were being punished by a god. One after another, the mountains and rivers were evaporated and melted. The earth that was overturned in all directions was like the waves of a tsunami. One wave after another, it rapidly expanded and surged towards the rear. The experts of the various races near the 9 Dragons Domain all vomited blood. Countless fierce beasts and monsters in the Beast Owl world were turned into pieces. Shock. It filled the hearts of everyone present. Even the experts of the Storm Saint tribe, the Rock Saint tribe, and the Imperial Beast Saint tribe were trembling from the bottom of their hearts. Heaven and earth really collapsed. Looking at the terrifying storm that swept across the entire Beast Owl world, countless people were in a daze. The powerful visual impact made them feel unreal. Especially when the ominous star 9-winged Ho appeared, no one dared to believe that it was real. Is this the power of the Heart Beast? Mu Fei, the master of the mysterious heavenly palace, was shocked. Boom! Bang! An even more chaotic storm exploded in the sky of the Beast Tao world. The dazzling purple light and the dense golden dragon shadow were like 2 tsunamis that covered the sky. The primordial dragon that the Dragon Blood Emperor had transformed into, and the heart beast of the demonic Eye Saint clan, the ominous star, the 9-winged Ho, had both fallen into distorted space from the shockwaves. Roar! The ancient dragon let out a long roar. Every inch of its body trembled violently, and its claws swayed outwards. So what if it's a heart beast? You guys can't defeat me, the Dragon Blood Emperor. Hurricanes filled the sky and covered the earth. The primordious dragon displayed the peerless divine might of the Emperor Dragon. It was like a divine beast in a storm, its might piercing through the heavens. However, just as the Dragon Blood Emperor finished speaking, a sharp howl that penetrated the depths of everyone's souls suddenly rang out. Hovering proudly in the air below the ominous star, 9-winged Ho, Chu Hen's pair of demonic purple eyes glowed with an extremely strong rhythm of power. Screech! 9 stars rotated in his eyes. The rapid and sharp air waves pierced everyone's eardrums, as if light was revolving around them. Xiao! Whoosh! In the next moment, 2 purple arrows suddenly shot out from Chu Hen's demonic eyes. 2 beams of purple light circled around each other, like 2 swordfish chasing each other. Then, Chu Hen's eyes turned cold, and the rotation speed of the 9 stars in the depths of his pupils suddenly accelerated. Together with the invisible rhythm of gravity, the speed of the 2 light arrows also increased exponentially. As they chased each other, a series of strange shing sounds rang out, and then the 2 arrows split into 9 sharp arrows like phantoms. Xiao, xiao, xiao. The 9 light arrows exploded with an extremely strong momentum, and rapid light vortexes intersected and flowed rapidly on the body of the arrows. In the process of moving, the cyclone that gathered around the 9 arrows continued to grow stronger. 9-star demon eyes, arrow of piercing world, 9 arrows, 9 beams of light. They tore through the storm, like the shuttle of starlight that streaked across the night sky. Everyone's pupils shrank slightly. The vertical pupils of the Dragon Blood Emperor, who had transformed into an ancient dragon, also shrank. This is the ancient dragon immediately spat out a scorching dragon's breath to meet the arrows. However, only the first 2 light arrows were shaken off. The sound of sharp weapons piercing through flesh was rapid and clear. Under countless incredulous gazes, The remaining 7 aurora arrows pierced through the flames of the dragon's breath. 5 of them pierced through the chest of the primordial dragon, 1 pierced through its leg, and 1 pierced through its claws. 7 beams of light. The instant they pierced through the sky, they also pierced through the Dragon Blood Emperor's body. Space. The world. It was as if time had slowed down. Everyone's eyes were wide open, and their faces were filled with deep disbelief. Roar, the ancient dragon let out a deep roar, and then a dazzling golden light erupted from its body. Soon after, the figure shrank rapidly. Soon, a slightly disheveled figure entered everyone's sight. The Dragon Blood Emperor's face was extremely gloomy, and several holes were clearly visible on his body, for which blood was flowing. He looked at Chu Hen, who was hovering in the void, in shock. Your Majesty, the injuries caused by the 9-star demon, I can't be healed. The corner of Chu Hen's lips curled up, and his powerful aura instantly overshadowed the Dragon Blood Emperor, one of the 10 great monarchs. The hearts of everyone present trembled to the extreme, especially those from the Demon Eye Saint clan, who looked up at the ominous star 9-winged Ho. At this moment, it was as if they saw the shadow of the Demon Eye Emperor on Chu Hen. I will not let you go. The Dragon Blood Emperor's eyes were filled with endless hatred. Then, he waved his hand in the void, and a crack appeared in the void. If you have the guts, come to the heavenly Tao world as soon as possible. I will be waiting for you there. With that, the Dragon Blood Emperor turned into a beam of light and entered the crack. Looking at the fleeing Dragon Blood Emperor, Mu Fei, Yin Fushu, and the others couldn't help but feel pity. If he killed the Dragon Blood Emperor now, the Six Paths world's strength would be greatly reduced. The Dragon Blood Emperor knew that he couldn't pass the ominous star 9-winged Ho and defeat Chu Hen, so he chose to escape first. After all, he was one of the 10 great monarchs. Although Chu Hen could defeat his opponent, in this Six Paths world, the Dragon Blood Grand Monarch couldn't force him to stay. If Mu Fei wasn't injured, he might be able to stop the Dragon Blood Emperor. However, with the Dragon Blood Emperor's defeat, the Beast Owl world's defense line also collapsed. The Storm Saint Clan, Rock Saint Clan, and Imperial Beast Saint Clan's formations were all destroyed. Kill. Charge. The Heavenly Mystery Palace, Demon Eye Saint Clan, Chaos Race, Martial Alliance, Kuan City, and many other forces experts were like a herd of beasts. They quickly occupied the Beast Tao world cities. The defense line of the various races was completely destroyed. No one expected the Dragon Blood Emperor to be defeated. The pressure emitted by Chu Hen covered the sky and earth, controlling the entire Beast Tao world. With the defeat of the Dragon Monarch, the Chu Monarch would be crowned. Chu Hen stood proudly in the sky, but his young figure was extremely domineering. The Beast Tao world is broken. There is no turning back until we enter the Heavenly Tao. Kill. Krong. The mighty expedition army was like a black tide that was pouring down. The giant ships of flowing clouds were unstoppable as they broke through the sky of the Beast Tao world and charged toward the Heaven Tao world. The Hell Tao world. Bang! The light circles were like the ripples of a galaxy, and the experts that tried to save burning Heaven Monarch were all blown away. Twin Seal. Half light, half darkness. The Light Saint Clan's Clan Master and the Darkness Saint Clan's Clan Master were like 2 mysterious twin stars. In a massive starry sphere, burning Heaven Monarch was trapped in the center of the darkness and light, completely sealed within. The ground cracked open, and a deep abyss appeared. Endless light surged out from the abyss and connected to the twin-life Jade Sphere that imprisoned burning Heaven Monarch. Don't waste your efforts. If the barrier could be broken so easily, how could it imprison a great emperor? The Darkness Saint Emperor laughed coldly. You 2 shameless bastards. Burning Heaven Monarch was extremely sullen at this moment. It was as if his hands and feet were tied up, and he could not use his powerful cultivation. At the same time, the high-level experts of the Divine Eye Saint tribe on the giant ship leaped forward and charged forward. Use the power of space. One of the commanders said. Understood. As soon as he finished speaking, A series of powerful and sacred golden lights exploded from the eyes of the dozen or so divine Saint tribe experts. Screech. Hum. Many shocking forces intertwined and stacked together, and the space around the starry sphere that imprisoned burning heaven monarch suddenly became distorted. However, the surface of the starry sphere started to ripple, and the center of the starry sphere was as stable as bronze. Oh no, the power of space can't reach the inside of the barrier. What? Chapter 17:14. Oh no, the power of space can't reach the inside of the boundary. They combined the power of the bloodline boundary of the divine sacred body in an attempt to release the burning heaven emperor, who was trapped in the twin seal. However, surprisingly, the power of the divine eye, which could distort space, was unable to penetrate the boundary. The Sacred Darkness clan leader sneered. Buzz. The half-dark, half-light star sphere flowed with a dreamy, mysterious whirlpool. Great Emperor, the divine sacred clan members looked solemn. Suddenly, at this moment, an extremely powerful energy ripple came from the command center of the divine saint race. They subconsciously glanced over. 9-star divine eyes. The 9-star divine eyes were like the eyes of God, overlooking all living beings and displaying the power of an emperor. At this moment, Qinyu was holding a bow with golden spiritual patterns in his hand. The sharp arrows were engraved with a rune of a pair of divine eyes. It's also a peerless divine weapon ranked 4th on the divine weapon list. Chuanyuan's arrow, ranked 4th. Looking at the Xianyuan divine arrow in Qinyu's hand, everyone in the Nether Dao realm narrowed their eyes. The sound of the bowstring vibrating tugged at everyone's soul. The moment her fingers released the bowstring, a whoosh. Sound of rapid wind, piercing sound rang out, and a beam of golden aurora swept out like a meteor streaking across the night sky. The airflow was rapidly pierced. It was like a 10,000-year-old light shuttle that traced the sun, moon, and stars. It stunned everything in the world. It came from the White Emperor's daughter, Qinyu. A ring of ripples spread in the air, and the Xianyuan arrow pierced through the dark side of the star sphere. It broke through the seal power in the dark area, flying toward burning sky monarch in the center. So fast, everyone on both sides felt their hearts in their mouths. In the light within the boundary, the Sacred Darkness clan leader didn't panic at all. A frivolous sneer appeared on his face. Along with the light and mocking laughter, a powerful spatial fluctuation immediately appeared inside the sealing barrier. An invisible force surged out like an undercurrent from the deep sea. Every phantom was like a sharp claw that stretched out. Even though its movement speed was still shockingly fast, its range was rapidly shrinking. Like a match that was gradually extinguishing in the dark night, the arrow's aurora disappeared when it was only 20 to 30 meters away from the burning heaven emperor. The hearts of the holy-eyed sacred tribe and the burning sky sacred tribe sank to the bottom. Sorry, Your Majesty. Countless beams of light were like a giant net that covered the sky, constantly devouring the star sphere. The 9 specks of light in the depths of his pupils chased after each other. A ring of invisible air waves trembled and spread between heaven and earth. What? How is this possible? Without giving anyone a chance to react, a loud and clear bird cry suddenly echoed from within the star sphere. Not good. As soon as the two of them finished speaking, a blazing scarlet light soared into the sky, and a fiery light that resembled the eruption of a 10,000-year-old volcano actually erupted from within. The domineering red light filled the sky. How could this be? Everyone was shocked. How did Mo Qingli, the sacred winged heavenly flame sparrow, get inside? Dad's eyes come in handy now. Boom! The sacred winged heavenly flame sparrow was like a phoenix that was bathed in fire, exploding with colorful divine light that pierced through the barrier in all directions. The balance between darkness and light was directly broken. Burning heaven, wrath, as the cold voice fell. The raging flames were like terrifying lava that had been brewing for countless years, instantly breaking through all restraints. It exploded in all directions. Just a little bit more. Mountains, rivers, and earth. Layer after layer of rocks, soil, glaciers, seas of fire. All of them were crushed by the aftermath of the explosion. The entire underworld seemed to have welcomed the explosion of the sun, and the temperature rose to an unbearable level. It's my turn now. Killing intent filled the sky and earth. No! Before the other party could finish speaking, a raging scarlet flame directly exploded in front of the Sacred Dark Tribe. The domineering, apocalyptic, heavenly punishment flame swam through every inch of the Sacred Dark Tribe's meridians and bones. His facial features were twisted, and then flames spurted out from his 7 orifices. The blood-curdling screams made one's scalp tingle. There was no mercy at all, especially the Light Saint Clan Master. His face was pale. There was no hesitation. Light. The Sacred Dark Tribe's formation was in chaos, and they no longer had any thoughts of fighting back. They all threw down their banners and fled. Back to the Heaven Dao world. Kill. The mighty army surged forward like a tide that broke through a dam, and the giant ships charged forward like ancient, ferocious beasts. Nightmare Realm. It was just as he had expected. They attacked the Heaven Dao world from 5 different realms. Looking at the Reincarnation Saint Clan's main force retreating, the Star Saint Clan side heaved a sigh of relief. An expert from the Star Saint Clan said to the Star Saint Emperor. His eyes were filled with a profound light. Once the outer realms of the 6 Paths world were breached, it was inevitable that the 5 armies would gather in the Heaven Dao world. The mighty troops marched towards the Heavenly Law realm with a destructive force. The War of the 10 Clans. Chapter 17:15. In 1 second. Wonderful pop-up window, free reading. 6 Paths world. It was chaos. Great wilderness, Xing Chun, 9 underworlds, Fun Tian, and Chu the Arch. The 5 armies advanced towards the Heavenly Dao world from 5 different directions. It was a vast and mighty expedition team. The flowing cloud golden boat was like a prehistoric beast. They trampled through mountains and rivers, smashed through the sky, and attacked the 6 paths of reincarnation heaven. Boom! Bang! The mountains and rivers collapsed, the sky darkened, and a murderous aura filled the air. The battle situation continued to expand. The battle line was lengthened. In the sky, monsters and birds screeched. The murderous aura was like a storm that quickly occupied the outer regions of the Heavenly Dao world. Heavenly Dao world. The Reincarnation Saint Clan's lair. Heavenly Dao City. From afar, it was not an exaggeration to call it the Heavenly City. The luxurious palaces advanced one by one. There were underground palaces built in the valleys and mountains, as well as stargazing pavilions that stood at the top of giant peaks. There were also long corridors that stretched across both sides of the sky. On both sides of the corridors, there was the Tiananmen Square that was connected to the sky above the peaks. And there was also the Heaven Offering Zen altar that looked like a king that passed down orders to the world. Spectacular. Mysterious. It was a sight to behold. Is that the legendary Heavenly Dao City? It really is like a paradise. Mu Fei, the Heavenly Mystery Palace Lord, murmured solemnly at the back of the army that advanced from the Beast Dao world. Beside him, Chu Hen's eyes flashed with a hint of emotion. One had to admit that Heavenly Dao City's breathtaking level was comparable to 10 white Darch cities. If one did not see it with their own eyes, it would be hard to imagine that there was such a magnificent heavenly city in the world. Yin Fushu said, "No matter how good the place is, it's still a place of filth." Mu Fei shook his head helplessly. A hint of determination flashed in his eyes, and he said to Chu Hen, "The other 4 armies should have reached the outer regions of the Heavenly Dao world. Let's attack the city directly." Chu Hen had the majesty of a king between his brows. Screech! A slight air wave trembled in the depths of his pupils, and a wisp of purple light flashed in his eyes. Enter the city. The order to attack was passed down. The war drums thundered. An impassioned battle song reverberated between heaven and earth. In an instant, the army from the Beast Dao realm surged into Tiandao City like a flood that broke through a dam. Kill, charge, flatten the heavenly law realm. Fire beacons fluttered as vicious birds tore through the sky. At the same time, extremely chaotic tremors and riots broke out at the borders of the other domains that Heavenly Law City was connected to. Under the siege of many parties, Tiandao City's guards and the various races' armies were forced back into the inner city. In and out of the Six Paths world, it had already fallen into an unprecedented chaos. Along the way, there was fire and smoke. Blood flowed like a river along the way. Corpses piled up like a mountain along the way. At this moment, on the remnant battlefield behind the Beastdow world, a petite little girl with delicate features was wading through a pile of corpses. She was alone, and the only companion she had was a little monkey with golden fur. The little monkey obediently squatted on her shoulder, and a pair of round brown eyes scanned the mess in all directions with slight confusion. In comparison, the petite little girl seemed especially calm. Facing the bloody battlefield in front of her, her eyes were full of calmness that did not match her age. Woo! Suddenly, a deep roar of a beast came from a broken cliff. Then, a black shadow as fast as lightning darted in front of the little girl. It was a ferocious beast that looked like a strange lizard. It exposed sharp teeth coldly, and its vertical pupils stared at the other party. Kiki, then a few ferocious beasts with cold auras also darted out from the other piles of corpses. Many ferocious monsters surrounded the little girl in the middle, like hungry wolves staring at a fresh lamb. However, there was still not the slightest bit of fear on the little girl's face. Not even a frown appeared on her face. Woo! Woo! Accompanied by a series of ear-piercing howls, the many ferocious beasts burst into sinister laughter and pounced toward the little girl from all directions. Their sharp claws emitted a cold light in the air. Streaks of black shadows that were as fast as lightning were like the shadow blades of the Grim Reaper's scythe. At this moment, the little golden monkey that was squatting on the little girl suddenly dashed out. In the next instant, an extremely majestic, demonic aura erupted from the little golden monkey's body. Roar! The ground exploded, and the wind and clouds roared. Along with a circle of destructive thunderstorm that rapidly burst open, a shocking giant ape that was thousands of feet tall and looked like an ancient ferocious demon appeared. The ferocious giant ape threw a punch and directly smashed one of the ferocious beasts into pieces. The beasts were extremely shocked. They did not expect that the two little things in front of them were actually so difficult to deal with. The golden monkey that had transformed into a giant ape went berserk and attacked continuously, crushing all the ferocious beasts that surrounded them into pieces. The little girl behind him was still very calm as she watched the bloody scene in front of her. Until the giant ape destroyed all the ferocious beasts, she only continued to walk toward the depths of the Beastdow realm with light and steady steps. At this moment, somewhere in another realm, a slender man was walking among the pile of corpses with a cold expression. He walked across the battlefield, and there seemed to be a 10,000-meter deep darkness hidden in the depths of his eyes. There were a few iron chains around his body. Although he had the appearance and body of a human, the aura that he exuded was unusually cold. Ferocious aura, demonic aura. This was the aura that leaked out from his body. Also human, also demon. Tiandao City. The winds were blowing, and the weather was changing. This was a heaven city that was definitely second to none in the human world. The layout of Tiandao City was exceptionally breathtaking. There was an abyss in the city, and there were thousands of palaces. There were giant bridges and sky fortresses. The reincarnation Holy Tribe. As the publicly recognized leader of the 10 most powerful holy tribes, there were very few outsiders who dared to set foot in this place since ancient times. Today, the 5 armies broke through the city gates and surged into the city. The battle between the holy tribes and the human domain continued to escalate and intensify. At the center of Tiandao City, on a monarch's platform that looked like a coronation ceremony, the heavenly pillar that stood under the sky exuded an unparalleled majesty and dominance. Around the heavenly pillar, there seemed to be a golden dragon python. Above the 9 heavens, There were giant birds and falcons soaring through the sky. On top of the monarch platform, there were 3 thrones. The reincarnation emperor and universe god Guji were sitting on the throne in the middle. They were as calm as ever. There was not the slightest fluctuation in their emotions. They were like the water in a deep well that would never change. Not even the slightest ripple could stir them. The Chaos Emperor on the left glanced at the position on the right. What if he's injured? The expression of the Dragon Blood Emperor on the throne on the right instantly darkened. He looked at the Reincarnation Emperor with a slightly sinister gaze, then replied coldly, "I was a little careless, oh." The Chaos Emperor raised his eyebrows. Chu Rantian's son already has the strength to replace you? Impossible. The Dragon Blood Emperor suddenly stood up from his seat, his entire face filled with frost. I was just careless for a moment. That's why I fell for that brat's trick. From today onwards, wait for me to tear him into pieces. The primordial chaos heavenly emperor smiled and did not say anything. Then his eyes turned cold and his voice was clearly much lower. They're here. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, the southeast city tower of Tiandao City was smashed by a huge shockwave. As the vast and mighty army swarmed into the city, numerous gigantic ships broke through the clouds and arrived in the sky above the heavenly Law City. Star Saint Tribe is here. The Star Saint Emperor's thunderous voice pierced the ears of everyone in the city, causing their scalps to go numb. Boom, boom. Then, in other directions, city towers collapsed, palaces collapsed, and layers of majestic buildings were smashed under the huge impact. Great Wilderness Holy Tribe is here. Abysmal Holy Tribe is here. Burning Sky Holy Tribe is here. Holy Eye Holy Tribe is here. The general trend was like a surging tide. Kwangdang. Then, the most intense and heavy sound came from the direction of the Beastao world. The ground cracked inch by inch, and an incomparably majestic chasm directly invaded Tiandao City from afar. A powerful aura pushed forward, like a heavenly sword piercing through the enemy's throat. Demon Eye Holy Tribe is here. Tianji Palace is here. Chaotic Clan is here. The clans arrived, the 5 armies gathered. Heaven is heartless. We will shake the world. Reincarnation is unjust. We will ignite the lightning. The order has been given. We will not turn back. We will not stop until we slay heaven. Military drums, horns, impassioned, melodious war songs, loud and earth-shaking. The commanders of the Star Saint Tribe, Abysmal Holy Tribe, Burning Sky Holy Tribe, Chu Hen, Mu Fei, and Bai Qinyu looked at each other. The 5 armies gathered in Tiandao world. This was what they had been hoping for. No one was missing. The 5 armies all arrived. Meanwhile, inside Tiandao City, the reincarnation, dragon blood, chaos, light, darkness, storm, imperial beasts, and the other races all gathered in the city. This would be the final battle. Could the Six Paths world hold this final line of defense? Could the Sacred Race Alliance win this final battle? This was related to the fate of the entire human race. High Heaven Imperial Stage. The Dragonblood Emperor and the Antiquity Emperor had already stood up. Hey, you are all here. The latter smiled sinisterly. Cosmos God Guji, get down here. The Burning Sky Great Emperor roared. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes turn red. The Burning Sky Saint Tribe was almost wiped out. The hatred between them had reached a point where only one side could stop. Chaos Monarch sneered. You should be grateful that I spared your life back then. Shut your dog mouth. Burning Sky Monarch roared and pointed at the 3 on the High Heaven Imperial stage. You are all greedy and shameless. Today I will burn this Six Paths world into ashes. Ha ha ha. If you are that capable, then come at me, Dragon Blood Monarch laughed. Flames burned in Burning Sky Monarch's eyes. Jiu Yu, Xing Chun, and Great Wilderness Monarch's eyes were filled with coldness. The 5 armies pressed forward. The soldiers arrived in the city, but they did not relax or slack off. At this time, Reincarnation Monarch's calm voice resounded. Welcome to my Heaven Dao world. If there is any neglect, please forgive me. After all, this is the last time. Very calm, very calm. It was still unfathomable. The invisible pressure was like ripples that seeped into everyone's hearts. Universe God Guji, you're the one who caused our races to end up like this. Star Monarch said sternly. Reincarnation Monarch raised his eyelids. Are you trying to convict me? Are you not guilty? Is this the reason why you came to my Heaven Tao world? It is not our wish for the 10 races to end up like this. But what you have done is simply infuriating. Don't you feel ashamed? Reincarnation Monarch's expression did not change in the slightest, while Dragon Blood Monarch and Junhuang Monarch snorted disdainfully. Ashamed? Junhuang Monarch sneered. You have lived for too long. I am afraid you have become muddle-headed. In this world, only the strong convict the weak. Why would the weak question the strong? As for your question, let me tell you, the moment you stepped into the Six Paths world, you have already committed a capital crime. Capital crime. Junhuang Monarch's voice was filled with disdain. The other monarchs' faces turned gloomy. Star Monarch clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles creaked. Why are you still talking to them? Let us just trample the Heaven Tao city. Burning Sky Monarch could no longer hold back his anger. All he wanted to do now was to vent his anger and resentment. Star Monarch, Huang Monarch, Mu Fei, Bai Qianyu, and the others exchanged a look. Then, the leaders of the various races raised their hands. A strong wind blew. A cold current filled the sky, wreaking havoc in all directions. Kill. Kill. Chapter 17:16. 1 second remember. Wonderful pop-up window, free reading. A strong wind blew. A bone-chilling cold current swept past like frost. Kill. Kill. As soon as the emperors issued their orders, the 5 armies charged into the inner region of Tiandao City like ferocious beasts from all directions. Humph! Do you really think you can flatten the heavenly law realm? In your dreams. The Antiquity Emperor also issued an order. Kill without mercy. Kill. Boom. In an instant, Samsara, Primeval, Dragon Blood, Light, Dark, Imperial Beast, Storm, and other sacred clans teams rushed toward the Alliance's conquerors like a tsunami. The crowd from both sides converged like a mighty tsunami, crashing into each other. The countless human figures were like a swarm of locusts. They blotted out the sky and covered the earth, both inside and outside of the city. Cold spears were biting cold. Hot blood was boiling. Sharp swords were like rays of light. 1 meter slaying body. The war in the heavenly law realm instantly broke out. There wasn't much debate, and there wasn't any unnecessary rebuke. Both sides knew that this battle was unavoidable now that all of them were here. Buzz, on mysterious heavenly palaces' flowing cloud arc, majestic turrets covered in mysterious talismans rose up. On the top of the turrets, dazzling energy balls contained shockingly powerful crystal sources. Buzz. Whoosh. Then, beams of crimson light shot out from the crystal sources' balls on the turrets. Along with a terrifying penetrative power, many humans and giant birds in Tiandao City were vaporized. Inside Tiandao City, rows of sky-gazing arrow towers were formed. On top of the arrow towers, huge ballistae rose into the sky. Whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, tens of thousands of black arrows rained down. They were filled with a dense killing intent. The cloud-piercing arrows drew beams of fiber-optic arcs in the air, dragging the rapid and brilliant light as they whirled toward the army of the Alliance's conquerors. Chi! The sharp arrow pierced through the heart, and blood splashed in the sky. Every arrow was like a meteor shower, and a large number of warriors were shot to death in the sky. War. It was cruel. It was also tragic. Fire beacons were lit in all directions, and tens of thousands of arrows were fired simultaneously. Inside Tiandao City, a sky full of arrows and scarlet pillars of light whistled through the air, causing everyone on both sides to be trapped in the area where the meteors converged. Apart from that, there were also many exploding meteorites in the sky, and one after another chaotic shockwaves spread across the sky and swept in all directions. Kill. Boom. The moment the battle began, it could be said that the sky and earth were in a state of darkness. The Six Paths World side and the Alliance Conqueror side were like two opposing currents. A series of powerful martial arts and combat techniques clashed with each other like gods and demons. The magnificent city gate tower was trampled. The majestic building collapsed. Everyone was fighting at the edge of the abyss, above and below the bridge. Ooh! The great emperors all had solemn expressions as the frosty wind howled. Looking at the reincarnation emperor, who was still sitting on the emperor's platform with a calm expression, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. Humph! What a disgusting expression. The burning heaven emperor could no longer suppress the battle intent in his heart. He was filled with hatred as he charged towards the emperor's stage where the reincarnation emperor and the others were. Cosmos God Solitary G, get down here. Wah! The scorching heat was like a hot gust of wind. The burning heaven emperor's body was bathed in flames, and his scarlet eyes were spewing out flames. Hell, loser! The chaos emperor smiled disdainfully. He leaped into the air and blocked burning sky emperor's path. If we didn't let you go last time, you wouldn't be standing here, screaming now. The burning heaven great emperor became even angrier. Shut your dog mouth. Today, I will burn this heavenly Tao city to ashes. After that, I will wipe out your entire chaotic sacred clan. Not a bad idea, just a little naive. Cut the crap. Die. As soon as he finished speaking, the burning heaven great emperor raised the boundless heavenly punishment flame to attack the chaos emperor. The latter did not panic in the slightest, and his cold eyes were filled with a cold sneer. You came the right time. Looking at the intense battle between burning heaven and chaos, the Star Emperor, Nine Nether Emperor, and the Desolate Emperor turned their gazes towards the Reincarnation Emperor and the Dragon Blood Emperor. You deal with Long Ling, the Star Emperor said to the Desolate Emperor, then said to the Nine Nether Emperor, the two of us will fight Cosmos God Solitary G. The Nine Nether Emperor nodded his head cautiously. The Desolate Emperor had no objections. The sacred body of great desolation could restrain the sacred body of dragon blood, and the power of desolates could effectively weaken the dragon scale armor. Be careful. We don't know what level Cosmos God Solitary G's cultivation has reached. The Desolate Emperor said worriedly. The Star Emperor sneered. Humph, no matter how strong he is, the two of us together will not be afraid of him. Yes, once I get the upper hand, I'll immediately go help you. As he said that, the Desolate Emperor's eyes flickered with a dense gray light. Along with an extremely powerful desolation aura, a dark turbid aura floated in the sky. The Desolate Emperor's aura soared, and he headed towards the Dragon Blood Emperor like a dark cloud. Little Long Ling, do you dare to fight me? The Dragon Blood Emperor sneered coldly. Don't be too proud. With that, the Dragon Blood Emperor gathered his dragon soul chi, which shook the heavens, and charged towards the domain created by the Desolate Emperor. You don't look too good. The Desolate Emperor was a little surprised when he sensed that the Dragon Blood Emperor's aura was weaker than when he was at his peak. Your Excellency, I'm afraid you don't know that the Dragon Blood Emperor has already been defeated by our Emperor Chu. If he didn't escape fast enough, he would have lost his life in the Beast Out world. Demon Eye Tribe's Sirius Star Guard Rao, Failwan shouted. What? Everyone was shocked when they heard that. The Star Emperor and Abysmal Emperor's eyes lit up. Bai Qinyu, who was on the Celestial Eye Tribe's side, raised her eyebrows in surprise. I see. Long Ling, I'm afraid you've wasted your life. You can't even defeat a junior. From today onwards, you don't have the title of Dragon Blood Emperor. The Desolate Emperor sneered. The Dragon Blood Emperor's face turned pale as he angrily raised his palm. Shut up. Bang! The two palms collided, and the gray light vortex and golden palm force converged like a violent storm. Boundless ripples of light rippled outwards, causing space to crack and air to surge. Under the envelopment of the power of desolation, the 9 dragon phantoms around the Dragon Blood Emperor's body seemed to be covered by a layer of dim veil. The intense battle between the 10 great emperors broke out one after another. The Great Star Emperor and the Netherworld Emperor looked at each other. Rumble. Then, the sky above the High Heaven Monarch's platform, where the Reincarnation Emperor was seated fell into darkness. It was as if night and day had switched, and the sky was covered by the curtain of night. Then a bright crescent moon appeared above the clouds. Wherever the moonlight went, it was the abysmal realm. At the same time, dazzling diamond-like stars decorated the sky. The Star Emperor was surrounded by holy light, and every inch of his skin seemed to be covered with a layer of dazzling starlight. The Abysmal Emperor's forehead had a crescent spirit tattoo, and he was like a celestial being in a dream world. In comparison, the Samsara Emperor, universe god Guji, was terrifyingly calm. He sat sideways on the throne and held his chin with one hand. Not only did he not have any energy fluctuation, but he did not even lift his eyelids. His other hand was tapping on the edge of the stone chair. The chaos and intense battle in the heavenly law realm seemed to have nothing to do with him. Even if blood had dyed a large area red. Universe god Guji, you should show some attitude. The Star Emperor's eyes were cold. Swish, swish. After speaking, the Star Emperor and the Abysmal Emperor rode the wind, one on the left and the other on the right. They were like aurora shuttling through the universe, heading towards the Samsara Emperor. Just as the two of them were about to step onto the high firmament Emperor's platform, the corner of the Samsara Emperor's mouth rose, and he lifted his finger that was tapping on the throne. It's about time. Rumble. The instant the other party's voice fell, a cold current suddenly surged over. Accompanied by a dark aura that covered the sky, a huge black vortex storm suddenly stirred up the sky. The abysmal realm became extremely unstable, and the starlight that adorned the void also became exceptionally dim. Bang! A heavy sound rang out as the rapidly expanding black vortex tore apart the abysmal realm created by the Abysmal Emperor. It's the devouring power. The Abysmal Emperor's face changed. The Desolate Emperor and the Burning Sky Emperor, who were fighting with the primordial chaos and dragon blood, were also shocked. This is the Heavenly Mystery Palace Master Mu Fei, Yin Fushu, and the rest, who were standing beside Chu Hen, had their eyes filled with disbelief. It's him, Rumble. The storm gathered, and the devouring power tore through the sky. Looking at the majestic and domineering figure that gradually appeared in the dark vortex, the Star Emperor's eyes seemed to be covered by a layer of dark fog. Devouring Great Emperor. Chapter 1717. Qianqian. Divine King Wu Ji's latest chapter. Devouring Emperor. The Great Star Emperor frowned deeply, and his face was filled with disbelief. The other great emperors were also shocked and confused. How could this be? The Devouring Emperor. Shock, confusion, uneasiness that could not be concealed appeared on the faces of the Alliance warriors. On the other hand, the Chaos Emperor and the Dragon Blood Emperor revealed a mocking smile. Rumble, the devouring power tore through the sky. In the devouring whirlpool that looked like a black millstone, a powerful figure with the aura of an overlord of the abyss stood in the sky above the Ceremony Emperor's stage. Looking at the familiar face and figure, the Great Star Emperor clenched his fists so hard that his knuckles cracked. This is really surprising, the Abyss Emperor said mockingly. He looked at the Star Emperor and said, "You've got the wrong person." The Star Emperor frowned even more. He looked at the figure in the sky and said in disbelief, "Even you've been bribed?" The Devouring Emperor's expression was complicated. He paused and said, "No, and I'm the last person who wants to stand here and confront you. Then why?" "For the human clan," the Devouring Emperor replied. "But the person standing behind you is the culprit who caused the war in the human clan territory." The Star Emperor shouted angrily. The Devouring Emperor's eyes flashed as he looked at the war in the Heaven Dao city that was getting more and more intense. Swordlight flashed and blood danced in the sky. Smoke and fire quickly spread throughout the Heaven Dao world. One had to admit that the Samsara clan, the Chaos Emperor, and the Dragon Blood clan were the culprits who caused the war. However, the Devouring Emperor shook his head and sighed. In the entire human clan, there's no one more suitable than the Reincarnation Emperor to take over the Heavenly Emperor token. The main reason for this situation is that the human clan lacks a true leader. If I stand on your side today, even if we win against the Reincarnation Saint clan, the conflict between the various clans will still appear soon. Is this your reason? The Star Emperor clenches fist. Yes. Do you really think that the person who killed Emperor Demon I and Emperor Bai with despicable means is qualified to replace Celestial Emperor? The Great Star Emperor asked. I don't think he can replace the Celestial Arch. Then why? But he is more qualified than any of us to replace the Celestial Emperor. This was the Great Emperor Devouring's reason. The reason why he was here today. Even though the Reincarnation Emperor was the main culprit, no one could deny his abilities. It was just as the Devouring Emperor had said. The Reincarnation Emperor might not be able to become the second Celestial Emperor, but he was the one with the most hope. From the Devouring Great Emperor's point of view, the conflicts between the various races would always exist, and the human race lacked a true leader. Just like the Celestial Emperor of the past, he suppressed the ambitions and desires of the various races. You think too highly of him. Someone as shameless as him will never be able to become the ruler of the human race. The Star Emperor shook his head gently, and his eyes were filled with disappointment. He had previously vowed that even if the Devouring Great Emperor did not participate in this, he would definitely not stand on the side of the Samsara Saint clan. This was not as simple as a slap in the face. It was a huge blow to the morale of the Alliance's side. The most serious point, the number of great emperors on both sides was now 4 against 4. Advantage. It was a sharp turn of events. The Devouring Great Emperor shook his head slightly. No matter what reason I have for appearing here today, I do not wish to be your enemy. I am truly sorry. If you're sorry, save it for when you regret it. The Abyss Great Emperor's beautiful eyes were filled with coldness. She glanced sideways at the Star Emperor and said, Since you do not wish to fight with him, let me do it. With that, the Abyss Great Emperor turned into an illusory shadow and flew towards the Devouring Great Emperor. Since you insist on being the accomplice of the evildoer, then put away your disgusting attitude. You have your excuse for appearing here, and we also have our reasons to fight. The powerful Abyss glaring chi spread out. The crescent moon mark between the Abyss Great Emperor's brows glowed with a holy, gentle, dreamy white light. She flipped her 5 fingers in the air, and a ruler sword with ancient runes and mysterious patterns appeared in her hand. As she charged into the dark whirlpool around the Devouring Great Emperor, the Abyss Great Emperor once again burst out a dazzling brilliance. Along with the strange rhythm of the power, the space around the Devouring Great Emperor became distorted. Then, more than 10 clones of the Abyss Great Emperor attacked the Devouring Great Emperor in different sword stances. Every clone emitted an extremely powerful sword aura. The wind and moon danced, and the sword aura was shocking. The Devouring Great Emperor frowned slightly, and a hint of solemnity appeared on his face. Then, he unleashed a majestic, devouring aura to counter the attack. Come on! The majestic, devouring power was like a dark planet that was spinning at high speed. The clones formed by the Abyss Heavenly Emperor dragged the extraordinary and piercingly cold sword light as they pushed forward. The sharp sword swayed with a transparent light as they sliced up the huge, devouring sphere. Every clone was like an aurora as they attacked the Devouring Emperor with the power to break through ice. When a sharp blade were less than 10 meters away from him, the Devouring Great Emperor's aura rose, and he suddenly raised his arms. Break! In an instant, the huge black sphere exploded from the middle. The surging, dark, devouring power was like a nebula of light that surged in all directions. The space was instantly crushed, and the fierce and domineering black ring-shaped shock wave blossomed. All of the clones of the Abyss Heavenly Emperor were shattered into dust and smoke. The Abyss Great Emperor, who was left with only his original body, increased his attack power and pointed the sharp sword in his hand at the throat of the Devouring Great Emperor. The latter dodged to the side and raised his palm to meet the attack. The palm that was surrounded by powerful devouring power landed on the back of the sword. Not only was the ruler sword in the Abyss Great Emperor's hand not shaken off, but it was firmly stuck in the palm of the devouring Great Emperor. Oomph! The Abyss Great Emperor snorted coldly, and the crescent moon mark between his eyebrows flashed with a holy light. With a twist of his wrist, the ruler sword exploded with powerful sword aura, which shook off the devouring Great Emperor's palm. Looking at the Abyss Great Emperor who was fighting with the devouring Great Emperor, the master of the heavenly mystery palace, Mu Fei, had an indescribable complex look in her eyes. As such, the 10 strongest sacred clans were all present. Samsara, Dragon's Blood, Chaos, Devouring. Star, Abyss, Desolation, Fun Tian, God's Eye, and Demon's Eye. In the human clan, the clans that possessed the strongest sacred physique bloodline were all present in this internal battle. 10 sacred clans, 8 great emperors. At that moment, the Star Emperor stood alone in front of the Reincarnation Emperor. At that moment, the Reincarnation Emperor's lips curled into a faint smile. He said calmly, "Do you have the courage to look me in the eye?" As soon as he finished speaking, the Reincarnation Emperor raised his eyes, and a formless, majestic aura pressed down like a mountain. The Star Emperor's expression changed slightly. In the second that he met the Reincarnation Emperor's gaze, an indescribable uneasiness arose in his heart. It was like a confrontation between a ruler and a subject. You feel it?" The Reincarnation Emperor said calmly. "This is the aura of fear, the aura of fear." It was just a gaze. The Star Emperor's expression changed again. He clenched his fists and said in a low voice, "Universe God, Solitary G, you can never replace that man." As soon as he finished speaking, the Star Emperor's body blossomed with a flowing starlight halo. His eyes were like the stars, and he flew out like a meteor. He immediately stepped onto the soaring sky pilgrimage platform, and the distance between them shortened rapidly. The Reincarnation Emperor replied playfully, "There's no need to replace him." Buzz! As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful aura that was like an undercurrent in the deep sea spread out in all directions. Ghost Tao, accompanied by a vast and cold aura, a withered netherworld bone palm suddenly stretched out from the surface of the platform. The withered bone palm, which contained a powerful destructive power, slammed towards the Star Emperor. Rumble. A heavy and violent explosion instantly broke the surface of the soaring sky Emperor platform. Along with the splashing of gorgeous light patterns and the rapidly cracking surface of the platform, raindrop-shaped, refined energy bodies directly pierced through the withered bone palm. The rapid airflow was cut and pierced through. The raindrop-shaped light spots were like meteors that traversed the sky, dragging along dazzling rays of light as they attacked the Reincarnation Emperor behind. As expected of the Star Emperor, such powerful strength, Yin Fushu, Li Wuxiang, and the rest exclaimed in surprise from afar. The raindrop-shaped flowing light swept across the sky, carrying with it an unparalleled divine might that could pierce through meteorites. However, just as these lasers were about to hit the Reincarnation Emperor, a circle of water ripple-shaped, transparent light screen appeared in front of the other party. Bang, bang, bang. A series of water droplets all hit the water ripple-shaped light screen, like diamonds smashing against the copper wall. At the same time, there was a dull, heavy sound, and all of them exploded into countless crystal fragments. Layer after layer of light ripples spread out in front of the Reincarnation Emperor. However, the layer of water ripple-shaped, transparent light screen only shook slightly. The Reincarnation Emperor, who was sitting on the throne, was not hurt at all. Swoosh! But in the next second, a shadow swept across the sky, and the Star Emperor suddenly appeared in front of the Reincarnation Emperor like a phantom. Then he clenched his right hand into a fist, and countless streams of starlight flowed up and down his arm. His entire arm seemed to be bathed in divine light, sparkling and translucent, and it contained a supreme divine might that could shatter meteorites. Bang! A huge commotion broke out on the platform again. The Star Emperor's punch carried a terrifying force that could pierce through the galaxy. The sky-shattering light screen soared into the sky, and the water ripple-shaped, transparent light screen in front of the Reincarnation Emperor burst into pieces. The surging starlight was like a surging wave, surging down along the two sides of the Reincarnation Emperor. The explosive starlight attack that could pierce through heaven and earth did not slow down and continued to bombard the Reincarnation Emperor. Don't forget, I also have one of the 10 strongest sacred physiques. The Star Emperor roared angrily. The Reincarnation Emperor, who was still sitting on the throne, did not change his expression at all, and his eyelids twitched slightly. Is that so? Boom! A violent tremor reverberated inside and outside the platform, and the space around the Reincarnation Emperor collapsed into pieces. Along with the collapsed platform and the void, a fierce and terrifying repulsive force swept out from the Reincarnation Emperor's body. A bright star ring light spread out diagonally, and under countless incredulous gazes, the Star Emperor was shaken to the point of retreating all the way. However, just as the Star Emperor steadied his body, the space around him started to vibrate rhythmically. A mysterious talisman formation quietly appeared on the ground under his feet. Every secret pattern of the talisman formation was blood red. They intertwined like blood-colored spiritual vines. In the middle of the formation, there was a sword-shaped pattern. Azura, Dao, Deadly Blade. Hum. The space in all directions was distorted, and the fierce wind danced wildly in the sky. The dark red afterimages scattered like dust. In an instant, 8 sharp dark red giant blades slashed towards the Star Emperor in the center of the talisman formation with the momentum of returning. Every sharp blade exuded the power of Azura that could destroy everything. The Star Emperor, who was in the middle of the talisman formation, was like a marked target. His expression didn't change, but his eyes darkened. He said, "Humph, you can't kill me with this." As soon as he finished speaking, the Star Emperor's palms faced outwards, and an unparalleled, dazzling starlight erupted from under his feet. Star God Shield. Under the endless starlight, an illusory figure that was tens of meters tall appeared outside the Star Emperor's body. The figure was covered in colorful battle armor, and then he raised his arms high and pounded the ground with force. Bang! A bright spherical light shield suddenly expanded in all directions. The rapidly expanding circular light shield was filled with an extremely strong impact force. As the platform was crushed into powder inch by inch, the 8 dark red Azura shadow blades that were attacking the Star Emperor were all smashed into pieces. The people from the Sacred Clan Alliance heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Yin Fushu said in a deep voice, "Fortunately, we have the Star God Shield. Otherwise, if we were hit by the Azura formation and the Blade of Absolute Death, the consequences would be unimaginable." The Heavenly Mystery Palace Master, Mu Fei, frowned and stared at the mysterious blood-colored talisman formation that had yet to disappear under the feet of the Star Emperor. Then, Mu Fei's eyes suddenly opened. "Oh no, there's still one more sword, what?" Before he finished speaking, the 9th Azura Blade of Absolute Death appeared above the Star Emperor's head without any warning. The crimson sword light pierced through the sky, carrying a thunderous, killing momentum. This sword was like a divine punishment from the heavens. Everyone's expression changed drastically. The Great Star Emperor was also shocked. He was too careless. In the face of the Samsara Emperor, even the slightest bit of carelessness would be fatal. The terrifying sword momentum of the 9th Blade of Absolute Death descended rapidly, and the illusory figure outside the Star Emperor was instantly slashed into pieces. The Star Emperor's pupils shrank to the size of a needle tip. "Other than being weak, you really have nothing." The Samsara Emperor's calm and indifferent voice entered the other party's ears. Clang! However, at this moment, an earth-shattering purple thunderstorm suddenly swept across the ascension platform. The sky changed color, and the universe trembled. The corner of the Samsara Emperor's eyes twitched, revealing a hint of surprise. Bang! Under the pressure of the overwhelming purple thunderstorm, the 9th Blade of Absolute Death was destroyed into pieces when it was less than a few meters above the Star Emperor. Looking at this scene, countless people's heartstrings tightened. On the ascension platform, there was suddenly a third figure. This figure was much younger than any of the great emperors. 10 Direction Holy Clan. Other than the 8 great emperors, it was the 9th emperor, Chu Hen. Chapter 17-18. Other than the 8 great emperors, there was the 9th emperor, Emperor Chu. Chu Hen. On the soaring cloud ceremony platform, frost and dust filled the sky and a cold wind raged. Looking at Chu Hen, who had appeared not far away, the great Star Emperor's lightly furrowed eyebrows relaxed slightly. Just like the 9th Azura Life Severing Blade, Chu Hen's appearance on the soaring sky ceremony platform also caused the surrounding people's hearts to be shocked. Chu Hen, you have to be careful, the great Star Emperor said in an extremely solemn and deep voice. Chu Hen lifted the corner of his mouth and replied with a smile. It should be you, great Emperor, who should be more serious. Star Emperor was stunned. He clenched his fists and looked at Reincarnation Emperor Yushin Guji again. The other party was still sitting in the original position steadily and didn't even change his sitting posture. After so many years, you haven't improved at all. Reincarnation Emperor looked at Star Emperor and said in a light tone. The latter's eyes darkened. Humph, the show is yet to come. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a slight tremble in the air. Star Emperor flashed towards Reincarnation Emperor like a flickering light. The latter's eyes that were as deep as an ancient well reflected a beautiful light and shadow. Accompanied by a surging strong wind, Star Emperor suddenly appeared above Reincarnation Emperor's head. He turned over and gave a heavy kick that was as fierce as a whip to Reincarnation Emperor's head. Thousands of starlight lingered and drew an arc-shaped, rotating blade in the air. The Great Star Emperor's most direct attack contained a terrifying power that could explode space. However, facing the former's attack, Reincarnation Emperor raised his left hand unhurriedly and used his arm to block Star Emperor's leg sweep. The moment he blocked it, Reincarnation Emperor flipped his wrist slightly and a hidden force surged out from his palm. Star Emperor was forced to retreat. However, Star Emperor also made use of his opponent's strength to change his direction in midair. He turned his hand into a palm blade and slashed at the Reincarnation Emperor's throat like a palm blade that had been soaked in endless starlight. Come down, Star Emperor shouted sternly. He had to admit that Reincarnation Emperor's carefree expression and attitude made him extremely unhappy. His arrogance was infuriating. The extremely sharp palm blade drew a crescent arc in the air. It was as sharp as the scythe of the Grim Reaper. However, the Reincarnation Emperor's seemingly slow movement was actually extremely swift and violent. He lifted his hand like a leaf and created a series of afterimages. Then, he gently patted the wrist of the Great Star Emperor with the back of his hand. Along with a muffled sound, the gorgeous star ring light shadow lingering around the Star King's arm was completely shattered. The Great Star Emperor's eyes grew colder as his continuous attacks were resolved so easily by his opponent. At this moment, countless violent thunderbolts exploded in the sky behind the Reincarnation Emperor. Rumble! Thunder pierced the ears and lightning shocked the sky. Chu Hen appeared behind the Samsara Emperor like a god of war who controlled thunder and lightning. The formless Emperor blade that he summoned instantly condensed into a huge heaven-splitting blade under the interweaving of thousands of purple thunderbolts. Sizzle! The dragon-like electric pillars swayed above and below the huge blade, exuding a terrifying divine might that could cut through everything. Chu Hen's arms exploded with a shocking majestic power. He raised the purple heaven-splitting blade and slashed down at the Reincarnation Emperor. The huge blade swept across the sky like a divine punishment sweeping across the firmament. Everyone felt the terrifying divine power that originated from Chu Hen's attack. However, the Reincarnation Emperor didn't even turn his head when he was dealing with the Great Star Emperor. His gaze turned slightly, and a cold light flashed across his pair of dark, cold eyes. Human Tao, divine rebuke, giant power. In a split second, a heavy, loud explosion exploded on the stage. Thunderbolts scattered everywhere and electric lights flowed. Accompanied by the violent thunderbolts that splashed all over the sky, the purple heaven-splitting blade that Chu Hin condensed actually broke into pieces. The surface of the stage exploded and collapsed inch by inch. A ferocious dark-colored shock wave swept out along with it. The Star Emperor and Chu Hin were thrown backwards. The densely packed rocks danced in the air. The chaotic thunderbolts were like petals that bloomed all over the sky. Human Tao, Extreme Winter Blade. Immediately, a black aurora instantly pierced the sky that was intertwined with thunderbolts and attacked Chu Hin. The speed of the aurora was as fast as the speed of light. It was like a sharp death ray. Chu Hin frowned. In a hurry, he immediately used the formless Thorch blade to block in front of him. Ding! A crisp and ear-piercing sound was heard. The black light actually penetrated the formless Thorch blade. Chi! Subsequently, a string of blood splashed in the sky. The light also penetrated Chu Hin's left shoulder. How could it be? Yin Fushu, Mu Fei, and the others were shocked. Even Chu Hin himself widened his eyes. Even the divine weapon formless Thorch blade couldn't withstand a casual attack from the Reincarnation Emperor. When you appeared in front of me, I didn't even have the time to be surprised. The Reincarnation Emperor's indifferent voice entered his ears. Chu Hin's expression changed again. A surging aura surged into the sky like a tsunami. As he moved, a sharp beast claw stretched out from the dark tornado. The beast claw was like an open iron hook, and it shrouded in front of Chu Hin. Oh no! The Star Emperor was shocked. Chu Hin, on the side of the divine I Saint clan, Bai Qinyu furrowed her brows, and her beautiful eyes immediately turned holy gold. Li, the power of the 9-star divine eyes suddenly activated, and the 9 black dots in the depths of her pupils chased after each other, accompanied by a strange energy fluctuation. The space where Chu Hin was immediately formed into a dreamy distortion. It's the power of space. Everyone's gaze subconsciously swept in the direction where Bai Qinyu was. But in the next moment, the space around Chu Hin was actually crushed by the extremely sharp beast claw. Bai Qinyu's power immediately cut off the connection with that area of space. Without saying anything, she immediately sped up and moved forward. However, the terrifying sharp claw was like an iron hook that locked Chu Hin inside. Chu Hin's pupils rapidly contracted. Bang! A heavy explosion shook the 9 heavens. In the instant that the sharp claws crushed Chu Hin, a spectacular purple fireball exploded in all directions above the stage. The purple demonic flames covered the sky, and Chu Hin's body was also torn apart by the beast claw. Purple flame clone. The Reincarnation Emperor raised his eyelids slightly, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. The purple demonic flames wreaked havoc in the sky. On the other side, a few hundred meters away from the beast's claw, Chu Hin looked down at the Reincarnation Emperor with a solemn expression. There was still blood flowing from his left shoulder, and the formless Thorch blade in his hand had lost its original peerless sharpness. "How are you?" Bai Qinyu flew to Chu Hin's side and asked with concern. Chu Hin shook his head slightly. Then he furrowed his brows and focused his eyes. Sing! The space started to tremble, and the pair of deep black eyes immediately overflowed with a demonic purple light. 9 stars appeared in the depths of his pupils, which were demonic and demonic. The Reincarnation Emperor, who was below, was surrounded by a faint, almost transparent, black halo. He looked at Chu Hin and Bai Qinyu with great interest. Behind him was a wave-like light flame, and within the light flame, an extremely strong power of the reincarnation beast surged. The sharp, giant beast claw stretched out from within the restless light flame. What a pair of nostalgic eyes! The Reincarnation Emperor's calm face had a thought-provoking smile. The Star Emperor, Chu Hin, and Bai Qinyu could not help but feel slightly shocked. Even though Chu Hin had relied on the purple flame doppelganger to replace his original body, none of the people from the Sacred Race Alliance could be happy. Even though the Star Emperor and Chu Hin had joined forces, they could not gain the upper hand in front of the Reincarnation Emperor. They did not even make the Reincarnation Emperor move from his position below. Unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. Everyone shook their heads secretly. How powerful was the Reincarnation Emperor's cultivation? At the same time, the battle between the Burning Sky Emperor and the Chaos Emperor exploded in the sky. One had the strongest explosive power in the Ten Corners Holy Clan, and the other had the power to control the strongest mystical flame in the world. The collision between the two was unusually fierce. In addition, the Burning Sky Emperor was filled with hatred and anger. As a result, the area where the two of them were fighting was covered in flames, burning mountains and rivers in all directions. The battle between the devouring Great Emperor and the Abyss Great Emperor became more and more intense. However, both parties were more or less evenly matched. Although the devouring Great Emperor's bloodline boundary could slightly restrain the Abyss Saint Physique, the Abyss Great Emperor had also used all his trump cards and displayed extremely powerful abilities. In comparison, the Desolation Emperor had an obvious advantage against the Dragonblood Emperor. After all, the Dragonblood Emperor had been injured by Chu Hen in the Beast Dao world. In addition, the power of Desolation had a special effect on the Dragonblood Emperor's defense, so the latter was having a hard time. However, the Dragonblood Emperor was not an ordinary person. Although he was at a disadvantage, he would not be defeated in a short period of time. As for Chu Hen, it would be difficult for the Star Emperor to hold on until the Desolation Emperor's support. The battle between the 10 clans was getting more and more intense. The chaos on the scene continued to increase. The Dragonblood Sacred Tribe's Divine Blood Transformation Dragons transformed into ferocious giant dragons and ferocious creatures that charged at the front. The primitive Sacred Tribe's terrifying explosive power could be said to be explosive. Every impact caused a large area of space to collapse and shake. The Reincarnation Sacred Tribe wielded the power of 6 realms, and all kinds of powerful combat martial arts shocked the battlefield. On the other hand, the 9 Nether Domain, created by the Great Desolation Holy Race, seemed to have turned the battlefield into their own home ground. The unpredictable 9 Nether energy and the overbearing Great Desolation energy greatly weakened the enemy's defenses. All the sacred clans displayed their abilities. All the experts displayed their abilities. The Demonic Eye Sacred Tribe and the Holy Eyed Sacred Tribe released their powerful eye techniques, which were dazzling and spectacular. The battlefield in the natural Dao world was constantly divided. Many powerful martial arts and secret skills collided, causing a drastic change in the weather. Killing, cruel, blood dyed the ground red, and corpses were everywhere. It was like a chaotic battle between gods and demons. Roar, roar. Suddenly, right at this moment, the deafening roars of ferocious beasts that were like thunderclaps actually resounded from the southeast of the Heaven Dao world. Everyone was startled. In the sky and on the ground, the army of demonic beasts was like an overwhelming tide, sweeping towards them in a ferocious manner. I say, Chu Hen, why didn't you call me Mufone when there's such a good thing? A monstrous demonic aura swept past like a typhoon. Long Qingyang, Yao, Long Xuan, Xiao Xingyi, and the others couldn't help but brighten up. It's Mufone. It's the monster region, Yin Fushu said in a low voice. Mu Fei frowned slightly. She cautiously looked at the young man who was the first to bear the brunt of the attack, leading an army of countless demonic beasts. Although he looked no different from a human, the demonic aura he released had reached a peak level. Chu Hen, let me help you. The leader suddenly burst forth with lightning speed, and 8 pairs of thin black wings that resembled willow leaves quickly appeared on his back. With a burst of speed, he flew into the battlefield. Chi. Wherever he went, he would leave behind crisscrossing phantom blades, and in the blink of an eye, a 6 Paths World's expert would be killed or severed. So fast, Long Qingyang and the others were shocked. Mu Feng continuously leapt into the midst of the enemy. From afar, Mu Feng's arms actually had a pair of scythe-like folding blades growing out of them. The side blades were so sharp that they looked like they could slice lightning. Even the Dragonblood Sacred Clan powerhouse, who had transformed into a dragon, was easily sliced in two by Mu Feng's scythe arm. "It's the aura of a Yu Huang divine winged serpent," Yin Fushu said. Mu Feng nodded. "Seems like he's the human that merged with the monster monarch's skeleton." Roar! Roar! The monstrous beast army followed closely behind Mu Feng and charged into the battlefield. The beasts were like meteors crashing into the sky, trampling through the mountains and rivers. Spectacular, shocking, and chaotic. At that moment, an even more powerful demonic aura invaded the heavenly Tao world. This aura was much stronger than Mu Feng's after he merged with the monster monarch skeleton. That is, Mu Fei and Yin Fushu looked at each other. In the sky above the demonic beast army, a domineering figure stood proudly like the king of all beasts. Monster Monarch Qi Kong. Chapter 17-19. The demonic beast army was like a raging tide, its momentum like a flood. Wherever they went, mountains, rivers, mountains, and hills were all flattened and destroyed. Huge beasts of different sizes swept across the sky, covering the entire sky. The beasts were like armored carriages, surging into the heavenly Tao city and joining the battle. The heavenly Tao world that was already in chaos became even more chaotic. The battlefield was split apart. Monster Qi filled the air, breaking through the heavenly Tao world's defenses, and the ferocious beasts launched their attacks at the Six Paths world side. Boom! The heavenly Tao city was completely destroyed. The tall buildings of the majestic cities collapsed with a loud rumble. The momentum of the giant beasts from the demon domain was comparable to the successive impacts of meteorites, causing the earth to cave in continuously. The Six Paths world's humans were trampled into meat paste by the beast's sharp claws. Meanwhile, in the sky above the monster army, a burly figure emitting a towering monster chi struck fear into the hearts of the onlookers. His body was tall, and his domineering aura was slightly stronger than the few human race emperors. It's Monster Monarch Qi Kong. Everyone was shocked. Heavenly Mystery Palace Master Mu Fei and Yin Fushu exchanged a look and saw the shock in each other's eyes. On the Ascension Abdication stage, Reincarnation Monarch was surrounded by a misty halo, and behind him was a blazing scarlet light. Like a supreme monarch, he looked at the monster monarch in front of him with disdain. The monster realm is also interfering in the humans' affairs? Monster Monarch Qi Kong stood proudly in the sky and stared coldly at Reincarnation Monarch. "The humans' affairs have nothing to do with me." "Then why are you here?" Reincarnation Monarch asked. "First, for the monster realm, and second, for Monarch by who was killed by you." Monster Monarch Qi Kang's answer was straightforward. "There are no excuses or excuses." "Ha ha!" Reincarnation Monarch laughed and raised his eyelids. "Seems like you have foresight. You knew that after I take care of them, your monster realm will be next." "Fine. You came at the right time. I don't have to go to the monster realm anymore." Without the heavenly monarch's control, your reincarnation Saint Clan has been too arrogant these years. Wah! As soon as he finished speaking, Demon the Arch Qi Kong suddenly burst out a monstrous, domineering aura. A frightening cold light shot out his eyes, and he immediately disappeared on the spot. Accompanied by an illusory shadow that flitted across the void, Demon Emperor Qi Kong rushed towards the pilgrimage platform like a meteorite. A huge and majestic pressure poured down. The platform that the Reincarnation Emperor was standing on suddenly caved in, and countless deep cracks spread out like a huge spider web. Demon Monarch Qi Kang's body was surrounded by dark blue light, and the vigorous light patterns were rapidly gathering towards his right arm. The solid and domineering fist force pressed toward the Reincarnation Emperor, and the space around the latter began to crack. Roar! Just then, a furious and ferocious roar came from the ball of red flames behind the Reincarnation Emperor. Following that, a huge beast claw suddenly stretched out from the ball of light. The beastly claws that were as sharp as hooks clashed with Demon Monarch Qi Kong, with the momentum of tearing the void apart. Bang bang. The two clashed, and dazzling light splashed everywhere. The huge beast claw was like a shield in front of demon monarch Chi Kong. The dark blue fist mark and the beast claw constantly rubbed against each other, producing sparks and fiery rain, and a strong airflow flowed on both sides. This is the power of beast Tao, of your samsara, Saint Physique. Demon monarch Chi Kang's cold eyes shot out a cold light, and a low roar came from his throat. He shouted, "Isn't it a little too weak? A little too weak." Roar. Along with the roar, demon monarch Chi Kang's aura exploded like a mountain and river, and the dark blue violent fist force actually shattered the huge beast claw. The moment the beast claw broke into pieces, the dark blue fist mark smashed toward the reincarnation emperor like a falling meteorite. The latter raised his eyebrows slightly, and the misty whirlpool that lingered around him emitted a slight spatial rhythm. Human Tao, divine rebuke, giant force. The misty whirlpool flowed slowly. It seemed as thin as gauze, but it contained an extremely strong rebounding force. Boom! A heavy and violent explosion shook the surroundings. Demon monarch Chi Kang's tyrannical attack landed, and a misty whirlpool around the reincarnation emperor was instantly flattened. Then, with a loud clang sound, the emperor throne under him was instantly covered with countless cracks. Immediately, the huge platform directly caved in and collapsed, and the broken pieces of rubble flew in all directions. A series of frenzied aftershocks swept out like a hurricane. What a domineering power! Everyone was shocked. No wonder he's the demon race emperor. I'm afraid only he can make the reincarnation emperor stand up from his throne. Demon monarch Chi Kang's combat power was absolutely unparalleled. In terms of strength alone, even the 10 Directions' great emperors would find it difficult to compete with him. "Get down!" Demon monarch Chi Kong roared, and a circle of gorgeous shadow, wing-shaped light bloomed in the air behind him. It was dazzling and stunning the sky. It was like a blooming flower of flames. Roar! The fierce and rapid wind whistled through the 9 heavens, and the platform that was caved in rapidly cracked from the middle at a speed visible to the naked eye. Many buildings and stone pillars on the high firmament platform were rapidly disintegrated and destroyed. As the throne that the reincarnation emperor was sitting on was crushed into powder, the reincarnation emperor finally left his current position. Under the unstoppable torrent of power, the reincarnation emperor's figure floated up into the sky, but his gloomy eyes did not fluctuate much. Looking at the high firmament ceremony platform that had exploded, everyone was shocked by the aura that Emperor Chi Kong exuded. Frost and dust filled the sky, and the cold wind was like a blade. However, at this moment, a pair of sacred golden eyes suddenly appeared in the sky behind the reincarnation emperor. The pair of golden divine eyes was like the eyes of a god, overlooking everything. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Looking from afar, under the pair of sacred golden eyes, Bai Qianyu was peerless, like an otherworldly fairy. Screech! The sharp air waves stacked up, and the 9 stars in Bai Qianyu's golden eyes that seemed to hide stars rotated, glowing with supreme divine light. 9-star divine eyes, space seal. Buzz, buzz. The strong rhythm of space stacked up continuously, and the aura that Bai Qianyu exuded instantly reached its peak. With the reincarnation emperor as the center, 12 rays of golden light flickered in the sky in a row, and they were connected to each other, forming a rhombus-shaped cube barrier space at an extremely fast speed. The few sides of the rhombus-shaped cube barrier were all flashing with the mysterious patterns of the 9-star divine eyes. The reincarnation emperor, who was sealed inside, seemed to have cut off all connections with the outside world. Beautifully done. Star Emperor, who was on the other side, praised. Then he called out to Chu Hen, "Chu Hen, brat, got it." Chu Hen replied in a deep voice without hesitation. As soon as he finished speaking, Chu Hen's purple demonic eyes that exuded an endless demonic aura also gave off a strong tremble of power. So, the storm gathered, and lightning pierced through the sky. The area where the reincarnation emperor was confined was suddenly set off with a purple demonic flame that could burn the sky. At the same time, the Star Emperor's aura also filled the sky. He raised one of his palms to the sky, and countless streaks of lightning-like starlight and holy brilliance rapidly gathered above his palm. The clouds in the sky above the ninth heaven were surging like a rotating millstone. The powerful star power converged and compressed into a star ring light whirlpool that spanned thousands of feet. The star ring light whirlpool seemed to contain the mysterious power of a galaxy in the universe. Without any hesitation, the Star Emperor's eyes turned cold, and he raised his hand and waved in the direction of the Reincarnation Emperor. Star God's tribulation. With a wave of his arm, the huge star ring light whirlpool was like a fast-moving galaxy, and wherever it went, it crushed everything. The world was overshadowed, and the whole Tiandao city was shocked. The thunderous attack that originated from the Star Emperor smashed the void all the way, and it slashed towards the Reincarnation Emperor, who was confined in the Space Seal. At this moment, behind Chu Hen, a giant black figure that looked like a demon god stood quietly. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh in the giant black figure's palm. A black flywheel that was revolving at a high speed had already condensed. Great Tao, slashing stargrass, swoosh. The rapid roar of the wind was abnormally sharp and ear-piercing. The black flywheel was like the Grim Reaper's black scythe that came from the mysterious abyss, cutting across the sky and slashing towards the Reincarnation Emperor. Good chance. Yin Fushu, who was far away, revealed a look of surprise. Mu Fei, the Heavenly Palace Master, was also moved. Even if it was the Reincarnation Emperor, he would have to pay a price if he wanted to resist the all-out attack of two great emperors. The galaxy-like star ring light whirlpool and the black flywheel light whirlpool, one on the left and one on the right, dragged a powerful heaven-ripping force towards the same position. The purple firestorm that was burning the sky was directly cut in two. The Reincarnation Emperor, who was confined in the nine-star divine eye space enchantment, seemed to be exposed to the two terrifying destructive attacks. You're finished. The Star Emperor clenched his fists and said, boom, bang. The sky exploded and the void shook. The silver star ring light whirlpool and the black brilliance collided at the same position. The nine heavens vault of heaven was instantly turned upside down. The sky above the Heaven Tao world was like a galaxy storm that swept across the void. A mighty shockwave swept out in all directions. The space shattered and the rooftop exploded. The huge Lingxiao ceremony platform was instantly disintegrated. The wantonly splashing light beams and shockwaves caused the blood of the surrounding people who were engaged in an intense battle to flow backward. Demon the Arch-Chi Kong, Star Emperor, Chu Hen, Bai Qinyu, and the rest looked solemnly at the chaotic sky that was shrouded by the storm and light whirlpools. Then, in the shattered sky, the Reincarnation Emperor stood firm in the chaotic vortex of energy. Everyone's expression changed. The Star Emperor, Demon the Arch-Chi Kong, and the rest frowned. There was no obvious injury on the Reincarnation Emperor's body, and his aura did not change much either. How is this possible? Yin Fushu shook his head in disbelief. The joint attack from four of them did not hurt the Reincarnation Emperor at all. Just how powerful was he? As I said before, apart from being weak, you have nothing. The Reincarnation Emperor's voice was indifferent and calm. He looked at Demon, the Arch-Chi Kong, and the rest indifferently, and said, the fear of being dominated by the Celestial Emperor has long been forgotten, because I have surpassed the Celestial Emperor. Surpassed the Celestial Emperor. A voice that made one's soul tremble reverberated in all directions. As soon as he finished speaking, an extraordinary aura gushed out from the Reincarnation Emperor's eyes. Screech, the familiar and strong air wave stacked up, and the Reincarnation Emperor's eyes shone with a strange radiance. That is, everyone's hearts skipped a beat. Chu Hen and Bai Qinyu's hearts skipped a beat. One of the Reincarnation Emperor's eyes turned sacred and noble gold, while the other eye turned demonic and evil purple. Sacred and demonic coexisted. This pair of eyes looked down on the world and ignored the common people. Chapter 1720. Apart from being weak, You have nothing. I have long forgotten the fear of being dominated by the Heavenly Emperor, because I have surpassed the Heavenly Emperor. Kaboom! Thunder rumbled from the nine heavens. The peerless aura was like the descent of a deity. In an instant, everyone's heartstrings trembled involuntarily. Even Fun Tian, the nine underworlds, the Huang, the devouring great emperor, and the others were astonished. Chu Hen and Bai Qinyu looked at the reincarnation emperor, who was standing proudly in the void, with complicated expressions of disbelief. In his eyes, there was a holy and demonic look. One of his eyes was golden, while the other was purple. Moreover, there were 9 stars rotating in the depths of his pupils. The Great Star Emperor couldn't help but clench his fists. He looked at Chu Hen and Bai Qinyu in confusion. Both of them looked even more solemn. A great deal of hatred was brewing in the solemnity. The eyes of Emperor Bai and the demonic Eye Emperor. Chu Hen's voice was cold, and his eyes were icy. Whoa! Then there was an uproar. Everyone's heart trembled with fear. Those were Emperor Bai and the demonic Eye Emperor's eyes. Shock, unease, and disbelief. Back then, there was a rumor that Emperor Bai and the demonic Eye Emperor had fought in the Firmament Palace, and they had each destroyed one of each other's eyes. From the looks of it, the so-called destroyed, I was actually taken away by the Samsara Emperor. Even the great emperors felt their scalps go numb when they saw the pair of strange golden and purple eyes on the other party's face. The show is about to start. Chaos Emperor, who was fighting with Fintian Emperor, smiled proudly. On the other side, Abysmal Emperor was furious. She clenched her teeth and said, "This is unforgivable." The devouring great emperor, who was sitting opposite him, had a complicated look in his eyes. Not only did the reincarnation emperor kill Emperor Bai and the demonic Eye Emperor, but he also took their eyes. This shocked everyone. "You are really unforgivable." Great Star Emperor shouted in a deep voice. "Sin is reserved for the weak." The reincarnation emperor looked at the crowd indifferently, as if he was the king of the world. Demon the Arch Chi Kong sneered. "Even beasts aren't as cold-blooded as you. However, are you used to using other people's eyes?" Demon Monarch Chi Kong sneered. Although the reincarnation emperor had taken the eyes of the White the Arch and the Demon Eye the Arch, they did not possess the bloodline boundary of the divine Eye and Demon Eye the Arch, so it was difficult for them to use the eye techniques of the 2 sacred clans. "You could give it a try," the reincarnation emperor said as he lifted his eyelids. Screech, the sound of rushing air waves stacked on top of each other, accompanied by a strong spatial rhythm. 9 stars spun in the depths of his eyes, and together with the monstrous power of the reincarnation underworld way, the soaring sky pilgrimage platform, which was full of holes and had mostly collapsed, exploded once again. Rocks flew everywhere as a huge, undead warrior climbed out of the pile of rocks. The strong aura of death seemed to originate from the darkness of hell. Its body was more than 100 feet tall, and under the armor that was surrounded by a strange black light, there was a pair of red eyes that emitted the light of the netherworld. Everyone's faces were filled with caution as they sensed the shocking samsara power. However, something even more shocking happened. The undead warrior god's left and right arms were suddenly ignited with 2 strange flames. The left hand was a golden divine flame. The right hand was a purple demon flame. 2 flames of different colors gathered in the hands of the undead war god like raging dragons. Then, under the shocked gazes of countless people, they turned into 2 long, narrow, and sharp fiery sabers. Looking at the 2 flaming sabers in the hands of the undead warrior god that was summoned by the reincarnation emperor, the Star the Arch, Qi and Demon the Arch, Chu Hen, Bai Qinyu, Yin Fushu, and the rest could not help but widen their eyes. How can this be? It was too easy. Not only did the reincarnation emperor easily release the power of the divine Eye and the demon Eye, he even fused them with the bloodline power of the reincarnation sage physique. How'd he do it? Mu Fei and Yin Fushu could not help but look at each other. Put away your funny expressions, because this is just the beginning. The Reincarnation Emperor's proud and aloof voice had a kind of coldness that seeped into the soul. It was as if everything in the world was an object that he looked down on. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, the undead warrior god's eyes that emitted an endless aura of the netherworld shot out a sharp, bloody light. Then he raised his hands, and two long and narrow heaven-punishing blades, one gold and one purple, slashed towards the four people in front of him. Swoosh! In a split second, a cross-shaped arc of sword light tore the sky. The intersecting arc of purple and gold were like two rays of divine punishment light. The Qigong Demon Arch, the Star Arch, Chu Hen, and Bai Qianyu's expressions changed slightly. The four of them immediately leaped back and retreated. Rumble, the huge cross-shaped sword light, then landed on the Lingxiao platform. The Ascension altar, which was already full of scars, finally could not withstand it and broke into pieces, disintegrating into the sky above Tiandao City. Such terrifying, destructive power. The great emperor's expressions changed simultaneously. Interesting, the Chaos Heavenly Emperor had a mocking smile on his face. Bastard, don't celebrate too early. The Burning Sky Emperor roared angrily, and his attacks became fiercer and fiercer. At the same time, the Desolate Emperor's eyes flashed with anxiety, and his attacks towards the Dragon Blood Emperor were obviously much fiercer. Looks like I have to get rid of you as soon as possible. Oomph. I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so. The Dragon Blood Emperor's dark golden eyes emitted a terrifying radiance. Then he soared into the sky, leaped into the void, and swooped down towards the Desolate Emperor. As he moved, the majestic aura of the 9 dragons was like a nebula and surrounded by many dragon shadows. The Dragon Blood Emperor's Saint Blood transformed into a dragon and suddenly turned into an ancient giant that covered the sky. Roar! The ancient giant dragon's aura was earth-shattering, and every inch of the dragon's scales was like a bronze wall. The Desolate Emperor was pitifully small compared to the dragon's body. However, the Desolate Emperor chuckled. Just in time, domain desolation of the 9 provinces. With that, the Desolate Emperor clapped his palms together, and the chi of desolation swept out in all directions like a raging sea. A grayish-brown halo immediately appeared in the sky above the heavenly Tao realm. Wherever the grayish light reached, the world turned into a dusky yellow. The mountains and rivers withered, and the plants lost their original brilliance. With a gentle breeze, they turned into dust that danced in the air. The overbearing power of desolation immediately turned the battlefield between the Desolate Emperor and the Dragon Blood Emperor into a forbidden zone of death that had no life force. The power of desolation was like a plague that enveloped the Dragon Blood Emperor, and the latter's dense dragon scales instantly dimmed. There was no other power that could weaken the defense than the power of desolation. Oomph! Feeling that his defense had been greatly reduced, the Dragon Blood Emperor's eyes revealed a fierce glint. He let out a low growl and clawed at the Desolate Emperor with his sharp claws. Just this little bit won't be able to affect me. Is that so? I hope you can hold on. The Desolate Emperor did not show any weakness and flew to meet the attack. Bang! Both of them clashed head-on, like meteorites colliding or stars exploding. A series of chaotic aftershocks swept out and overturned the sky. The soaring sky ceremony platform was split by the undead war god wielding the flaming saber. Everyone felt the threat from the Reincarnation Emperor once again. At this moment, Demon Emperor Qigong shouted in a deep voice, "I'll get rid of this thing first. The 3 of you stall for a while." With that, Demon Emperor Qigong rushed towards the undead war god with a monstrous demonic aura. While moving, Demon Emperor Qi-Kang's wings of light flashed behind him, and a pair of huge light shadows bloomed like a ring of stars. He threw out a punch, and a dark blue light pierced through the sky like a meteorite. "Go back to your hell." Tisk. The undead war god was fearless. He raised the saber formed by the golden divine flame and the purple demonic flame and slashed at Demon Emperor Qigong. The 2 sabers were like 2 beams of murderous aurora, and it was very stunning. Bang! He did not dodge. It was a solid head-on collision. Demon Emperor Qi Kang's fist smashed on the center of the two cross sabers. Countless light beams splashed all over the sky, and the surging aftershocks surged in all directions. Under the heavy impact of Demon the Arch Qi Kang's thunderous attack, the undead war god was pushed back a few steps, and the flames on the twin sabers in his hands were wavering. Seeing how fierce Demon Emperor Qi Kang was, Great Star the Arch, Chu Hen, and Bai Qinyu were shocked. The three of them looked at each other and flashed towards the Reincarnation Emperor. Screech! Chu Hen's eyes flickered with purple light, and he took the lead to attack. As Fun Tian's purple demonic flame pounced towards the Reincarnation Emperor, a purple thunderbolt dragon rushed out of the sea of fire. The huge dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, showing its ancient ferocity. It swooped down with the momentum of Pantheon. The Reincarnation Emperor, who was in front, looked up coldly, and his purple left eye twitched. Screech! 9 black spots chased each other in the depths of his pupil. Swish! A purple arrow shot out from his eye. In the process of moving, the arrow split into 9 sharp arrows like a phantom. Loss of transmigration? Chu Hen frowned. Not long ago, he defeated the Dragon Blood Emperor with this move. Swish, swish, swish. Before the crowd could react, the 9 aura arrows swept up an extremely strong, penetrating momentum, and the cyclones that flowed rapidly above and below the arrows became more vigorous and powerful. 9 arrows. 9 beams of Aurora flying shuttle. They directly pierced through the head of the Thunderbolt Dragon. Boom, boom, thunder and lightning exploded, and the sky changed color. The Thunderbolt Dragon directly burst into a shocking, frenzied storm, and the attack of the 9 Aurora arrows did not decrease much, and they attacked Chu Hen with endless murderous momentum. Chu Hen's eyes slightly trembled, and a strange rhythm appeared in his pupils again. 9-star demon pupils, heaven-smiting grasp, rumble. Along with the storm of demonic flames that had gathered, a huge purple palm that was swaying with countless lightning bolts and flames reached out, shattering the 9 arrows that were coming at them. With Chu Hen's cover, the Star Emperor flashed in front of the Reincarnation Emperor like a phantom. You are unforgivable. The Star Emperor's palms faced each other, and circles of flowing star swirls converged and flowed in his palms. Whoosh! The powerful rhythm caused the space to distort to the extreme. Then a fist-sized water droplet of refined power condensed in front of the Star Emperor. Holy light overflowed, and it was gorgeous and dazzling. The water droplet seemed to be only the size of a fist, but it gave people the feeling that it was the power of a whole star compressed into a celestial body. Swish! The water droplet in the Star Emperor's palms shot out like a light particle, and it rubbed against the air, creating a red rain of sparks. Wherever it went, a straight crack was drawn in the space. This attack, penetrating heaven and earth, it seemed to have the power to destroy the world on the other side of the Earth's core. The strong wind whistled down, and the Reincarnation Emperor's eyes became slightly sharp. Then he raised his arm, and circles of ripple-shaped light appeared in his palm. Even if I am guilty, no one can judge me. Violent gales danced in the vast sky. The instant the water droplet energy body touched the Reincarnation Emperor's palm, an incomparably heavy and violent explosion resounded, shaking the 9 heavens. It was as if tens of thousands of stars had bloomed in an instant. The dazzling light vortex was like a circular arc blade that slashed the sky. Circle after circle, it spread out endlessly. Spectacular. Shocking. The intense collision of the boundary of the Saint Physique's bloodline and the fierce battle between the 2 great pupil techniques. The extremely strong scene impacted the visual nerves of countless people. However, at this moment, the space around the Star Emperor suddenly showed a strange state of distortion. 9-star divine eyes, space seal. Everyone's heartstrings trembled. This sentence didn't come from Bai Qinyu. Buzz! In an instant, 12 golden light rays flashed around the Star Emperor, and their heads and tails were connected to each other like a simple constellation pattern. The Star Emperor was instantly sealed and confined in a rhombus-shaped cube enchantment space. On the few faces of the rhombus-shaped cube enchantment, a pattern of the 9-star divine eyes appeared. Like a trapped beast in a box, the Star Emperor cut off all contact with the outside world. However, before the Star God Emperor could react, there were thousands of purple light beams that suddenly appeared in the void around him. Every purple light ray was like thousands of arrows returning to their origin. From the front, back, left, right, and from all angles, they converged on the Star Emperor who was confined within. On the other side, Chu Hen's expression changed again and again. My life has a blade. In the hands of the Reincarnation Emperor, the demonic I Saint clan and the divine I Saint clan's pupil techniques were at his fingertips. Countless purple light rays besieged the Star Emperor from all directions. The latter couldn't avoid it. Screech! At this moment, Bai Qianyu, who was in the rear area, narrowed her beautiful eyes, and the 9 stars in her golden eyes spun. Space seal, release. Release. In an instant, the rhombus-shaped space that confined the Star Emperor became extremely unstable, and the patterns of the divine eyes on its 6 faces quickly became illusory and transparent. As the light on it dissipated, a crisp bang was heard. The 6 faces of the rhombus-shaped space were like broken glass, turning into countless crystal fragments. The Star Emperor, who had released the seal, was also exposed to the countless purple light rays at the same time. He snorted coldly. Star God's wrath. After saying that, the Star Emperor raised his arms outward, and a silver halo like a nebula burst out in all directions. Boom! The heaven and earth shook, and the clouds raged. Tens of thousands of thunder roared, and the countless purple light rays that were attacking the Star Emperor were all shattered. But then, a giant purple hand reached towards the Star Emperor with the power to control the sky. The sky above his head quickly darkened, as if dark clouds covered the sky. Bang! The Star Emperor, who was caught off guard, was ruthlessly pressed into the Tiandao city by the giant hand. Boom! The ground exploded, and the city tower collapsed. A giant palm print suddenly appeared in the Tiandao city, and the violent aftermath spread in all directions, flattening a large number of buildings in the city. Everyone's expression changed again and again. They were shocked and shocked, especially the people from the demonic I Saint clan and the divine I Saint clan. Their eyes were filled with indescribable shock and complexity. It was really unbelievable. The opponent didn't have the demonic I bloodline, and secondly, he didn't have the divine I bloodline, but he could use the pupil techniques of Emperor Bai and the demonic I Emperor to such an extent. Boom! The Star Emperor, who was pressed into the ground by the giant purple palm, released countless spiraling wind pillars. His eyes were red, and he shouted with a cold expression, Universe God Guji. The Reincarnation Emperor stood in the cold wind and looked down at the Star Emperor with a playful expression. So many years have passed, but you haven't improved at all. Chapter 1721. Sensational. The heaven and earth trembled, and the firmament shook. The war in the 6 Paths world was like a storm. The collision of the 2 ocular techniques made people's hearts tighten. What was most unbelievable was that the Reincarnation Emperor was able to use the divine eyes and the demon eyes so skillfully. How is this possible? How can he use these pupil techniques without the bloodline boundary of the 2? Shock, doubt. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe that Reincarnation Monarch was so strong. Monster Monarch Chi Kong, Star Monarch, Chu Hen who defeated Dragon Blood Monarch, and Bai Qianyu who possessed the 9-star divine eyes. None of them had the slightest advantage. They were so calm that they didn't even have much of an emotional fluctuation. Universe God Guji, how strong are you? Heavenly Mystery Palace Master Mu Fei frowned, and his eyes were filled with seriousness. Boom! At this moment, Star Monarch, who was pressed into the ground by Reincarnation Monarch's palm, was enraged again. As countless silver spiral light pillars shot into the sky, Sand danced wildly in the air, and rocks of all sizes surged into the sky. His eyes were red as he stared at Reincarnation Monarch, Universe God Guji. Angry. Really angry. However, Reincarnation Monarch didn't even bat an eyelid as he looked at Star Monarch, who was venting his anger. So many years have passed, and you still haven't improved at all. His monarch-like, peerless majesty shocked everyone's mind. The monarchs were all shocked. Then Reincarnation Monarch said with a supreme attitude that looked down on the common people, "In front of me, all of you are subjects." The invisible oppressive aura was like a passing typhoon. Everything in the world seemed to have become Reincarnation Monarch's background. You are too early to be happy. This war is not over yet. Star Monarch's earth-shattering aura resounded throughout the entire Heaven Dao city. As soon as he finished speaking, the clouds in the 9 heavens changed and the universe lost its color. The gloomy sky was suddenly filled with dazzling stars. Then, thousands of starlight sprinkled down from the sky and converged above the Star Emperor, outlining a dazzling and mysterious formation. Every formation pattern and every inscription on the beautiful glyph array exuded an ancient aura. Rays of light intersected and shuttled back and forth. In an instant, a three-dimensional and mysterious constellation appeared in the sky above Tiandao City. It's a summoning formation. Could it be? It can't be wrong. It can't be wrong. The sky above a natural law world trembled uneasily. Under countless shocked gazes, the central space of the constellation summoning array cracked rapidly. As the storm gathered, an ancient ferocious aura that seemed to come from another plane of existence surged over like a tidal wave. Rumble, the ground around the great star Emperor cracked inch by inch. Countless rocks and ruins of city buildings seemed to have broken free from gravity and floated up. His hands kept forming complicated seals as he stared at the Reincarnation Emperor with his cold eyes. "I'm afraid you don't have the qualifications to treat us as your subjects. Come out." Star Refining Dragon Bat. Boom! The space cracked layer by layer, and a ferocious aura that could make one's soul tremble spread in all directions. Yeah, the shrill howl formed invisible ultrasonic waves that stung everyone's eardrums. Under countless shocked gazes, a ferocious and mighty behemoth emerged from the shattered void in the ancient summoning array. Star Refining Dragon Bat, the heart beast of the Divine Star Clan. The attention of the entire Tiandao city was attracted. Its appearance made all the demonic beasts that came from the demon region raise their heads and roar. Star Refining Dragon Bat. Its body was more than 2,000 zhang long. Its lower body was that of a dragon, and its upper body was that of a bat. It had a pair of bat wings on its back, and around it, there were 3 star-like energy spheres floating. The 3-star energy spheres revolved around its body slowly, swaying and forming circles of light that looked like the Milky Way. Each of the star energy spheres was more than 1,000 zhang long, and they contained a divine power that could destroy the world. Is this the legendary Star Refining Dragon Bat? To be able to see it with my own eyes today is a great blessing in my life, Mu Fei, the master of the Tianji Palace, said with a complicated tone. The heart beast of the Divine Star Clan joined the Battle of Tiandao City with a breathtaking aura, and the Reincarnation Emperor's ruling aura was suppressed. At the same time, the Burning Sky Emperor and the Chaos Emperor collided with each other, and both of them retreated backwards. What will come will come. If this goes on, we won't be able to determine the winner. Burning Sky Emperor said coldly. Antiquity Emperor laughed sinisterly. As you wish. Buzz. Why? The void that the two of them were in immediately shook with an unprecedentedly strong rhythm. Burning Sky Emperor and Antiquity Emperor's eyes met, and their eyes were burning with a strong and majestic fighting spirit. Buzz, buzz, incomparably bright light interweaved in the sky, shuttling up and down the sky, and then each produced a mysterious summoning array. Holy flame, burning sky, splitting sky, illuminating bull. Antiquity descends. Thunder, ancestor lion. Moo. The deafening roar of a peerless giant exploded in the sky, and around burning sky emperor, a scorching firestorm covered the sky and covered the earth. Surrounded by intertwining tornadoes and flame vortexes, a giant figure that looked like an ancient demon smashed through countless buildings in Tiandao City. This was a ferocious creature with the body of a human, but it had the head of a bull. A bull's head and a human's body. It stood up straight. Its entire body was covered in magma-like cracking armor, and scorching flames covered the surface of its body. Its 5 senses and 7 orifices were also spewing out boiling lava pillars. Its left arm was a claw, but its right arm was a giant axe. Tyrant's fury, manic, and extremely dangerous. In the sky behind Antiquity Emperor, the vast and terrifying power of Antiquity was like an earth-shattering tsunami. Roar! A ferocious aura that was not any weaker than the previous 2 gushed out, and from the crack in the sky, a huge black shadow rushed out. As a pair of dazzling light wings spread in the void, a huge lion with a golden mane and thorns on its back roared provocatively at the bull demon behind Burning Sky Emperor. On the forehead of the huge lion, there was a single horn. The horn flickered with sharp electric arcs, and with a slight movement, it caused a thunderstorm. Oh my God! Another 2 heart beasts. Splitting Sky, Illuminating Bull. Heart Beast of Burning Sky, Saint Tribe. Thunder Ancestor Lion. Heart Beast of Antiquity Tribe. As soon as they appeared, a terrifying hurricane was set off in Tiandao City. A large area of the city walls collapsed, and the palaces disintegrated one after another. Just their roar alone was enough to make everyone's blood boil. However, before the crowd could even stabilize their bodies and minds, another 3 extremely powerful auras enveloped them. The area where the Abyss Emperor, Devouring Emperor, and Desolation Emperor were at, all blossomed with mysterious light patterns that resembled a firework shower. The light patterns intersected and outlined each other. From afar, it looked like an ancient constellation in the boundless universe. Wherever the moon reaches, it's the 9 underworlds. Boundless Ghost Underworld. Buzz. Above the 9 heavens, the dark moon hung in the sky. Amidst the endless interweaving lights, huge soft tentacles were the first to drill out of the crack in the space. And then, surrounded by the tentacles, a huge head appeared. This head was wrapped in a thick layer of armor, and no mouth or nose could be seen. Only a pair of evil and charming eyes could be seen. One of the eyes had a pupil that was contracted like a crescent moon, while the other was round like a full moon. The aura they released was extremely cold and gloomy, devouring mountains and rivers, absorbing all rivers. Heaven-devouring Tao. The devouring emperor's aura shook the sky. With him, as the center, darkness sealed the 9 heavens, and the devouring power was like a hellish vortex that stirred up the universe. Ear-piercing laughter accompanied by a cold current invaded the inside and outside of Tiandao world. A huge ferocious beast that emitted a thick, greedy aura confronted the fierce beast in the sky above the Abyss Emperor. That beast had a goat's body and a human's face, with tiger teeth and human hands. On its neck, there were 3 ferocious heads. It was extremely similar to the legendary ancient divine beast, Tao Tai. 10,000 miles of desolation, 1 eye for 1,000 years. 8-headed desolation snake. The Desolation Emperor's divine aura caused the 9 heavens and earth to desolate. As the mountains and rivers turned dark brown, the ancient summoning array was filled with dust. An extremely cold aura seeped deep into everyone's bones. Hiss! The sound of the snake's tongue made people's spines turn cold. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the 8-headed giant snake tore the sky net, rolling up the desolation aura and entering everyone's optic nerves. Boundless Ghost Lair. Abyss Saint Tribe's Heart Beast. Heaven-devouring Tao. Devouring Saint Tribe's Heart Beast. 8-headed Desolation Snake. Great Wilderness Saint Tribe's Heart Beast. After the star-refining dragon bat of the Sacred Star Tribe, the sky-splitting torch cow of the sacred sky-burning tribe, and the thunder ancestral line of the sacred star tribe, the other three heart beasts appeared. A series of dazzling lights shone in the sky. The 6 summoning talisman arrays shook the entire place. At this moment, the commotion extended beyond the heavenly Tao world. The ground of the entire 6 Paths world exploded one after another. Such a scene. It had not appeared for a long time. At this moment, countless people were trembling in fear. The people of the 10 Directions Sacred Clan were shivering. Even Mu Fei, Yin Fushu, Li Wushang, Rao Felwan, and the others felt their souls shudder. This was the difference between the 10 strongest Sacred Clan Great Emperors and ordinary Great Emperors. This was also the reason why the 10 strongest Sacred Clan Great Emperors could rule the human territory forever. Just when everyone was shocked by the scene before them to the point of being at a loss for what to do, a pair of purple eyes that were evil and charming like the eyes of a demon god suddenly appeared in the sky on the other side. One after another, beams of purple light pierced through the dark clouds and sprinkled in the sky. Another ever-changing summoning array shone in the sky. Shocking demon eyes, chaos heaven and earth, heart beast, ominous star, 9-winged hoe. Chapter 1722. Shocking demon eyes, bringing chaos to heaven and earth. Ominous star, 9-winged hoe, boom. Purple light pierced the sky and sprinkled down. In an instant, the entire Heaven Tao realm was in chaos. Mountains and rivers cracked, and city towers collapsed. As if a typhoon or tsunami had passed through, the ground was lifted layer by layer, and gravel was thrown into the sky, flying in all directions. That's the heart beast of the demon I Saint clan? How is that possible? He can summon a heart beast? Countless people stared at the demonic, godlike purple eyes in shock. Aside from the people from the Beast Tao world, everyone else had disbelief on their faces. Xing Chun, Nine Nether, and the other great emperors also had a strange glint in their eyes. Amidst the crisscrossing purple light, a huge creature with monstrous ferocity tore through the plane of space and appeared in the sky above Heaven Tao City. Its body was so huge that it blocked out the sun. Its domineering body was almost perfect, and it was covered with purple scales that looked like iron armor. On its back, there were 4 lightning-like wings. Its tail was like a blade, with both sides extremely sharp. It was regarded as the 9th wing. Oh my God, it really is the ominous star 9-winged hoe. Isn't he not a great emperor yet? The ominous star 9-winged hoe, the heart beast of the demon I Saint clan. Before this, only the demon I Saint clan could control its power. At this moment, after the first 6 heart beasts appeared, the 7th heart beast shocked the entire Heaven Tao realm with its heaven-shattering momentum. Everywhere in the Heaven Tao realm, a storm was brewing, and the universe was overshadowed. All kinds of dazzling and mysterious summoning arrays were like the gates of heaven awakening that opened a different space. Within the 7 gates of heaven awakening that covered the sky, 7 ferocious beasts emitted a terrifying aura that could tear through the 9 heavens. An unparalleled, ferocious aura crushed down, causing the entire Heaven's Tao world to be covered in darkness, and everything in the world had lost their original luster. The great emperors also showed their shocking power to control the universe. Most people's eyes trembled as they stared at the extraordinary young figure under the ominous star 9-winged hoe. Unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. This is getting more and more hurtful. Somewhere in the Tian Dao city, Chun Jingfeng of the Star Sacred Clan and Yin Hanyu of the Burning Sky Sacred Clan were filled with shock and indescribable complexity. In front of the two, Yu Shinin of the Samsara Sacred Clan clenched his fists. His cold eyes were filled with fear. Do you feel the difference? Yin Hanyu laughed softly. While he was laughing at himself, he was also laughing at Yu Shinin. Back then, during the Sacred Race Convention, it was Chu Hen who had personally ended Yu Shinin's overlord status. In Yu Shinin's heart, he had thought that one day he would definitely take back everything he had lost. However, the proud son of the heavens, Yu Shinin, didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the battle in the sky above Heavenly Tao City. Yushinin cracked his knuckles. Then his eyes turned cold. "Umph. You two losers don't have the qualifications to laugh at me." Yin Hanyu and Chun Jingfeng looked at each other, and the latter said, "Fine. The grudges between the 10 races have already reached this stage. All that's left is the winner, and the loser is the bandit." "Hee bandit, it must be you too." As soon as he finished, Yushinin's aura rose, and the extremely strong Six Paths reincarnation power surged out like a tsunami. "Both of you, come at me together. Today, all of you who stepped into the Six Paths world must die." Dead beast void, roar. A ferocious and furious roar resounded as Yushinin's body rapidly turned into a ferocious reaper covered in bone armor. Qin Jingfeng and Yin Hanyu were not afraid at all. They released their saint body bloodline boundary power and faced Yushinin from the left and right. Rumble. An unprecedented commotion shook the 9 heavens, Milky Way. "Yushinin Guji, it's true that I haven't improved at all, but you aren't any better. Using someone else's eye technique, only you, Yushinin Guji, would do such a shameless thing," Star Monarch roared angrily. Then, Star Monarch leaped up and appeared above the Heart Beast, the star-refining dragon bat. "Today, I will definitely fight to the death and raise your heavenly Tao city to the ground." Raised to the ground. Rage. Domineering. A boundless fighting spirit surged out in all directions. Roar. The star-refining dragon bat let out a soul-shattering howl. Then, the 3 huge astral energy spheres hovering around it spread to the periphery. It was like a galaxy nebula that spread out. Wherever the star energy spheres went, the space collapsed one after another. The constantly expanding star vortex was like a rapidly expanding galaxy storm. In an instant, it enveloped the reincarnation monarch within. One of the massive star spheres directly smashed over with a terrifying aura that could destroy everything. The reincarnation monarch felt as if he was placed under a world-destroying meteor. At the same time, the ominous star 9-winged centipede that Chu Hin had summoned let out a tyrannical roar that shook the heavens. It opened its mouth, and countless violent energy waves gathered in its mouth. Buzz. As if thousands of purple light beams had gathered, the ominous star 9-winged centipede raised its head. In an instant, a massive light vortex with a majestic aura shot out from its mouth. The purple light vortex swept across the vast sky, covering the sun. As it moved rapidly, a sharp giant blade that looked like a ship's anchor rushed out from the light vortex. The giant, arc-shaped blade tore through the void. Together with the star-refining dragon bat's star energy sphere, they launched a fierce joint attack on the reincarnation monarch from the left and right. The joint attack of the 2 great heart beasts. It was absolutely terrifying. The destructive pressure continued to push forward, and the space around the reincarnation monarch was squeezed into pieces. Endless dazzling starlight and dazzling purple divine light swept out from both sides. The reincarnation monarch was like a tiny dot in the middle of 2 nebulas. Boom! The moment the 2 forces met, the heavenly stars exploded in the sky. The heaven and earth shook violently. The void that lost its color immediately collapsed, and the heavenly Tao city below directly collapsed. Looking from afar, the 2 huge whirlpools converged into one, and then exploded in all directions. Rumble! Bang! The hurricane howled, and the aftershocks were fierce. The earth-shattering aftershocks swept out wantonly. The closest ones were the demon emperor Qi Kong and the undead war god summoned by the reincarnation monarch. Under the impact of the tsunami-like light wave, the demon emperor Qi Kong immediately retreated while the undead war god, who was holding the divine flame and demon flame dual blades, was swallowed by the violent aftershocks. Subsequently, the undead war god was crushed by the splashing light. SSS. Everyone who witnessed this scene sucked in a breath of cold air. Such terrifying power. Just the shockwave alone was enough to shatter the necromancer war god into smithereens. Heart beasts. Once again, they showed everyone how terrifying they were. However, quickly after, Chu Hin, the starry emperor, the monstrous emperor, and the others frowned again. Within the remnant of the berserk power that filled the sky and earth, an imposing and domineering figure was still faintly discernible and arrogant. He was still calm and composed. He was still unscathed. No matter how violent the storm was, the reincarnation monarch was like a boulder standing by the side of the waves. How can this be? Yin Fushu's face darkened. The head of the Heavenly Mysteries Palace, Mu Fei, frowned as he muttered to himself. Just how powerful is he? In the chaotic cyclone, the reincarnation monarch looked at everyone with his holy and demonic eyes. Just this alone is clearly not enough. Obviously not enough. At this moment, everyone felt uneasy. The joint attack of the two heart beasts did not cause any damage to him at all. It was truly frightening. At this moment, there was an extremely chaotic power fluctuation on the battlefield between the Desolation Emperor and the Dragon Blood Emperor. The battle between you and me has come to an end. The Desolate Emperor's majestic aura caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. The heart beast of the sacred clan of the Great Wilderness, the eight-headed Desolation Serpent, was emitting a gray mist that looked like a demonic barrier. Each of its vertical pupils was shining with a cold light. Immediately, the 8 heads of the serpent lifted up, and each head spewed out a thick, dim yellow light pillar. The light pillar quickly dispersed into the shape of a fan, constantly expanding the area it covered. The space that was already barren turned dark again, as if it was immersed in a sunset. As for the Dragon Blood Emperor, who had transformed into a primordial dragon, his massive body suddenly trembled. A domineering power of desolates seeped into every inch of his flesh and scales. The Dragon Blood Emperor's scales, which were originally bright and strong, turned dry and rough. The Dragon Blood Emperor was shocked. He suddenly realized that the energy in his body was rapidly depleting. It was as if he had been infected with a corrosive poison. The domineering dragon body suddenly shrunk, looking like a sickly bag of bones. Among the 10 sacred clans, only the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan did not have a heart beast. Back when the Celestial Arch ruled over the human territory, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was the most indignant. However, not only did he fail to defeat the Celestial Arch, his heart beast had even been killed by the Celestial Arch. Therefore, the Dragon Blood Emperor was in a rather awkward position among the many Thearchs. Furthermore, the Dragon Blood Emperor had already suffered serious injuries back in the Beastow world, which directly caused him to be at a disadvantage when facing the Desolation Emperor. The dim yellow spatial domain rapidly devoured the Dragon Blood Emperor's energy, rapidly reducing the strength of his defenses. Without waiting for the other party to come up with any countermeasures, the sky above the Dragon Blood, the arch suddenly surged with wind and clouds. Accompanied by the roar of thunder, a huge palm that was more than 10,000 meters wide covered the sky, shocking everyone present. Desolate Heaven Divine, Gathering Palm. The Desolation Emperor stood proudly in the sky, looking down on everything. Boom! In an instant, the great Desolate Divine Palm, which was like a dark celestial body, landed solidly on the ancient dragon's body. Bang! The void collapsed, followed by the sky. A shocking gray halo mixed with endless wind, clouds, and waves swept across the vast sky. For example, the heavenly deity's giant palm landed heavily on the Dragon Blood Emperor's back. Accompanied by a large-scale spatial explosion, the Dragon Blood Emperor's huge body was directly smashed into the ground from the void. Clang! The ancient dragon's body landed on the ground, and the ferocious palm energy surged. The heavenly Tao world's rivers and mountains were immediately swept away. Countless roads that extended in all directions were filled with cracks and ravines. The buildings in the heavenly Tao city also collapsed one after another. The ancient dragon that the Dragon Blood Emperor had transformed into collapsed on the ground. The scales on his body cracked, and flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Large mouthfuls of blood flowed from his mouth. Great! The Burning Sky Emperor, who was fighting with the Chaos Emperor, exclaimed. The eyes of Nine Nether, the Star Emperor, and the others also lit up. After defeating the Dragon Blood Emperor by relying on the Heart Beast and himself, the Desolate Emperor did not delay or hesitate. He directly flew with the 8-headed Desolate Serpent to the battlefield where the Star Emperor, Chu Hen, and the others were fighting with the Reincarnation Emperor. Cosmos God Guji, now you have no advantage at all. The Desolate Emperor had an imposing appearance, and the 8-headed Desolate Serpent behind him was even more ferocious. However, the Reincarnation Emperor was still calm and composed. It's starting to get interesting. Stop pretending to be calm. The Star Emperor shouted angrily. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone who was attacking the Reincarnation Emperor burst out with a torrential aura. The Star Emperor, Qi Kong Demon Emperor, Chu Hen, Bai Qianyu, and the Desolate Emperor, who had just arrived, all released dazzling rays of light. I've had enough of your expression. Star Soul Slash. Demon God's Fury. World-piercing arrow. Xinyuan arrow. Desolate Heaven Sword. Beams of dazzling light lit up the sky and swept towards the Reincarnation Emperor with boundless murderous power. The destructive aura descended from all directions. The Star Refining Dragon Bat, the ominous Star Nine-Winged Centipede, and the 8-headed Desolate Serpent all spat out extremely violent shockwaves. The attacks were like a storm. The Reincarnation Emperor was helpless as he stood in the intersection of the aurora. However, facing the attacks that could cause the sky to collapse, the Reincarnation Emperor's eyes flashed with an arc of light. Then, he lifted his eyelids, and a whirlwind of light swept out. Along with the invisible and majestic aura, a terrifying aura that seemed to originate from the abyss surged out. The 6 paths of reincarnation shall rule the heavens for me. The Reincarnation Heart Beast Corpse